Hey there, BreezeLine has a holiday gift just for you. 1 month of free internet for all your family's gift sites, book flights, and movie nights. Get reliable, fast internet with speeds starting at 100 megabits per second for just $19.99 a month. Plus, free Wi-Fi your way home for the first 12 months. And your first month is free. BreezeLine wishes you all a happy and bright holiday season. If only they could give you a little holiday relief from all the matching family outfits. Service subject to availability. New residential customers in select areas only. Visit breezeline.com for complete offer details.
Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Plus, when you sign up today with promo code OhioSB, you'll be all set for when FanDuel goes live in Ohio. Then you can bet on all your favorite teams and all your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Ohio, this is your chance to get in on the action. Join today with promo code OhioSB. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Ohio. Bonus issued in non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Ohio on 1/1/23. Unique user identity verification required. Offer ends on the go-live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
I hate the commentators. I hate the ring announcers. I hate the production. I hate the wrestling. I hate the interviews. I hate their promo style. I hate the way the shows are presented. I hate the way the shows are paced. I hate the video packages. I hate everything about this company with every fiber of my being.
And Rich Crage.
You know, he comes out and you're just like, ugh, gross. Like, look at this guy.
Yeah.
In all the best ways possible. He's just the slimiest looking guy you've ever seen. I love him so much. He's so good.
And we are live here on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening?
How are you?
1 week off. Long time no talk.
We had a week off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Thanksgiving. Yeah, we didn't do anything. We didn't do a show in between that either. It's been a while. Maybe the longest I've gone in a long time without talking to you, which is sad or good, or I don't know what that is. But hi, how are you?
Why is that sad?
I guess it's not sad. I guess it's sad that I missed you. I was like, oh man.
No, that's not what you meant.
That's not what I meant.
That's not what you meant at all. Now I'm a little hurt. Now I'm a little insulted.
Sorry. No way to kick off the holiday season. I apologize about that.
Well, I opened up the Thursday Dynamite review with reminding everyone that they're all 1 day closer to death.
Oh,
so
lovely. I did not listen to that show yet. So how did you do that? How'd you get to that? You were just like, hi, well, we're 1 day closer to death.
Well, I noted that it's now December.
Yes.
We're almost in 2023 and the time just flies. And, you know, every time we wake up, we're 1 day closer to the Reaper. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, great.
So it's like
awesome. Thanks, Joe.
You know, it's
how was the show? Other than that, how was Dynamite? So.
I was feisty. I was feisty on that audio. Well, I may as well do a cheap plug. So
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, do it right off the bat. Let's do it.
Yeah, because there was no. I didn't do. Did I do it? I didn't do a Dynamite review last week either, right?
No, you did. You did. No, you did. You did. It was very late. It was like excruciatingly late, and your cat was eating stuff and I listened to it. It was very low. I don't know why your mic was so low. I think you were whispering, but then also you didn't pump up the mic. Something like that. It was very, very quiet. Yet you could hear like the jingling of a. I don't know. Does your cat have a collar or just bells or something? You could definitely hear something in the background.
This fucking cat, okay, Miss Maggie Moo. She's got the bell collar with the little bow tie.
There's a picture of her on Discord. She looks very nice. So I don't buy any of the stuff that you say about her.
That's because the bow tie is a ruse. It's all a trick. Don't be fooled by the little Fabulous One's bow tie. Okay. She's a menace and she knows when I'm doing audio and she acts up. Okay. When I do the late night dulcet tones audio, okay, I can't do it where I normally do it because it's people are sleeping. I'm going to wake them up. So I move all my equipment to downstairs in the dining room, like the fancy dining room that we never really eat in. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, okay, okay. So it's just you and there's a big table with like 6 chairs and then you sitting there.
Yeah, the non-functional
Dynamite. Yeah.
But what I do is I stand at like this divider that I use as a standing desk.
Okay.
So what this fucking cat does is she knows that I'm trying to do audio. She hops up on the dining room table, then hops up on the back of one of the chairs, and then she leaps off the chair onto my back with her claws and claws into my back. And because she thinks it's a fun game.
It is, yeah.
So she jumps, and I'm trying to not scream in agony because I've got
you got a cat claw, just
20 cat claws
ripping at your back,
embedded into my back,
like Hollywood Hogan in '97, just ripping your back.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a picture of one of these shirts with the 20 claw holes in it that she continues to ruin. This is her little game she plays. So, you know, I can't lock her up somewhere because she's a kitten, and if she can't get to the litter, she shits and pisses on the floor. So it's a whole conundrum. So sometimes I'll take the collar off so people can't hear the bell, right? But then the dog gets in the mix, and I have the hardwood floors down there, so her claws are hitting the hardwood floors. Yeah. It's the most unprofessional audio.
It's so bad.
It's because it's unbelievable. These animals are out of control.
It's a good thing the content is elite level because the quality is horrific. So
I'm trying to do this dulcet tones audio and keep things quiet and smooth. I got a cat jumping on my back. I got the dog clicking their fucking heels on the floor. The dog and the cat love each other, which is a shocker to me.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, but they conspire.
Right now, the cat's made your usually good, well-behaved dog now evil. Correct?
Yeah, she's swatting food off the table down to the floor to the dog. You know,
yeah.
Yeah, this cat is a menace, an absolute menace. So, I don't even know what the hell you asked me, but no, last week's show. Yeah. So I did the dulcet tone show. That show stunk, by the way, because of all the animal issues. And I didn't like that show. This week's show is great. And everyone should subscribe on the $5 tier to listen to that show. And, the title of that show is WWE Bullshit, because, I like how AEW has avoided certain aspects of WWE bullshit, like not inundating us with overproduced video packages. Okay. If you don't know why Hangman Page wants revenge on Moxley, well, you either don't, you either don't watch the show or you're stupid.
Or they told you. Excalibur says the last time they were in the ring, Jon Moxley knocked out Hangman Page and he's been gone for weeks.
Correct. Or you just didn't listen to you had to show on mute because they did explain it.
Right.
We don't need to
want to do a corn cob. You heard the right. Hangman. You heard the horses go and you went, ah. And then you just immediately transform into a corn cob. And then when you emerged from your cobbiness, then you returned and saw Hangman and Moxley in the ring and went, what is going on? No, my brain.
No video package.
I can't handle it. Why are these men fighting? And then they talked about why they were fighting, but you were still screaming for being a corn cob, so you didn't notice it. So I don't know. Yeah,
as the man is marching towards the ring, Excalibur and Taz are explaining to you what happened 2 months ago.
And then the promo content was all about it. Moxley said, "Hey, did you get knocked out last time? You were knocked out the last time you were in the ring with me. Are you sure you can handle this?" Like it's pretty clear. Yeah.
His exact words were, "I'm sorry, do you not remember last time?"
While pointing to his head.
Right. So, yeah. So what you know what's funny about that complaint is like 99.9% of the people who complain that there's not enough explanation and not a video package totally understand the story being told.
Oh, they got it. They know the story.
They're worried about a fictional person that doesn't exist. They're worried about the fictional casual fan that doesn't exist. And if but doesn't it go through their head? Oh, I understand what's happening. Why don't they assume that everyone else watching understands what's happening? If they understand, like I would understand if like you didn't understand what was happening, you might say, oh, I wish they would explain this. But if you get it, then that means they've sufficiently explained
right. Other people
it.
probably get it too. Yeah.
Right. It drives you nuts. But anyway, that's the one WWE trope, WWE bullshit that AEW has avoided. But there was something on the show, Rich, that set me the fuck off. And I'm not going to give it away. And it's
I don't even know what this is. I don't think I even know what this is.
It's WWE bullshit. And I fucking hate it.
WWE bullshit on
and
this
it's going to be.
I'm not going to guess it here either because I don't want you to have to reveal.
Don't give it away.
Yeah.
It's. I'll text it to you.
Okay.
It's going to be one of those things. You know when I get on something and I don't let go?
Yeah. Yes, I do. As I anxiously await a fucking Ringer podcast analysis coming very soon. Hopefully. Yeah. Yes, I do know when you get on things and you just don't let them go and I
can't let it go and it just and then I become more annoying than the thing actually is annoying.
And then people actually turn around on it.
Right.
Because they're like, Joe, it wasn't that bad. Like, they hated it, but then you are so fucking annoying about it.
It's funny because you didn't listen to me yet, but that's exactly what I said.
I know you. I've done audio with you for 10 years, and I know because there's things that I dislike that you dislike, but then you dislike it so much that I'm like, Joe, it wasn't that bad. Like, come on. Like, reel it in a little bit. It was fine. It was okay. Yeah, that...
And then I'm so annoying and won't let go that people are like, you know what? I think I like that.
You're going to turn around on it? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so I texted you the thing that's WWE bullshit that I fucking hate that they did last night.
Oh, I would have to guess that. Yeah, I didn't.
It makes sense now?
It does make sense. See, I don't
want to go down that road, Rich. I don't want them going down that road.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, that's I don't think I hated it as much as you did, but I probably when I listen to the audio, I will understand what you... And I don't disagree with you fully. I don't know if I'm as mad as you are leading me to believe that you are mad about this, but...
I am incensed.
Wow, okay. See, I didn't like it, but I also I wasn't incensed like you were. But that's interesting. I'll have to listen to that.
This is peak Vince McMahon bullshit is what this is. Okay? I hate it. I got one question for you, and I'm not going to give it away. Okay? Would Harley Race do that? Would Ric Flair do that?
No.
That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. I'm not going to give it away.
Ric Flair would not hang out with Lil Bow Wow. I'll tell you that. That's not it, by the way.
That was so fucking stupid that it can't annoy me.
Like, that was like, you can't get mad at that. You're a corn cob if you got mad at that because it was so over the top. Yeah.
I mean, we all know it's terrible and it sucks and it's counterproductive and nobody in the building cared, but it's like, you know, Tony's fixated with these mildly famous fucking music acts. I don't know.
Bow Wow's a tough one too.
You can't convince me that's a big time star. You can't.
It's not. When I was in when I went to Dynamite last week, they showed the video package with Bow Wow, and the nurse is like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "Little Bow Wow," and she was like, "He's still alive?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't. Yeah, why would he not be alive?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't know." And she just looked back at her phone, just like, no, like
that's that.
The amount of care that she gave to Little Bow Wow was, "Oh, he is still alive. Oh, okay." And then like 20 minutes later, like, has Little Bow Wow done anything in the last 15 years? And I was like, I don't know, not sure, but I don't know either. Yeah, I can't answer that. I'm not sure. But yeah, I guess. Sorry, he's just Bow Wow. He's not Lil anymore.
No, yeah, that's right. He's not Lil.
I think he's like 34 years old. So.
He's
I think he's my age actually. I think Bow Wow is my age. Let me see how old Bow Wow is. He is exactly he was born just a couple days after me. March 9th, 1987.
You can't be Lil if you're in your mid-30s.
No. You lose the Lil. I wonder when he dropped Lil. I wonder if like when he was, I'd say by like 17 you probably got to let it go, right? Because you want to be cool. You want to be cool at that point. You want to stop being Lil. Well, but then you could bring Lil back. Like if you weren't little, but then like you added it later. Because there's a lot of Lils now that are not like 19 years old or whatever. They're in their 20s or whatever. But
I can't support it.
You think no Lils after what age is your Lil cutoff?
I think once you hit 27, you have to drop the Lil.
27. Okay. All right.
That's a grown ass adult. I mean,
Lil's tough for a 20. Like
you're pushing 30.
If you went to a family party and they went, "Oh, here's Lil Joe walking in," you'd be like, "Oh man."
Here's the thing: you walk to a family party at 27, people expect you to kind of start having your shit together.
Right.
Like you're not.
When are you having kids? Is there a woman in your life? Type of stuff.
You might not have to be completely settled and
but your aunt's going to ask it. Your aunt's going to ask, "Hey, is there any women in your life?" Or some prodding question that she probably doesn't need to ask, but is going to ask.
I just think at 27, the wheels should at least be turning. Right? Is that fair? Like by then, the wheels should be turning. There should be some kind of.
What's your career? Where are you still living in an apartment? Are you are you seeing anybody? Like little stuff like that.
Something has to be happening. You don't have to be completely in. I settled into life later than a lot of people.
Sure, of course.
But the wheels were turning by the late 20s. I mean,
it was not for lack of trying. It was just,
Look, I had a real functional salary at 24. Is that average, fair, late, early? What is that?
At 24, an actual salary? Yeah, I don't know. I had a salary like out of college, so I don't know.
So you were a little before me. You had one at like 20, a functional salary.
Yes. Functional 22, 23. I had a functional salary.
I can live on my own and eat steak now and then. That's my bar.
Yeah, I don't know if I was quite there at 22, 23. 24, okay, I was definitely there. So right around the same time as you.
By 27, the wheels should be turning towards that at minimum. I'm not even saying you need to be there. But 27 is like, all right, you gotta shit or go off the pot, right? 25, I maybe can cut you a break. So I think 27 is when you gotta drop the Lil. That's kind of where I stand on that. Is she still Lil Kim?
Lil Kim is still Lil Kim, yes. But like I said, she was that, and I think that's an important distinction. Is like if you came up as a Lil. And you were already an adult when you came up as a Lil, I think you are allowed to continue to be. She's also like 4'9" or something like that. So I think it works a little bit better.
Oh, okay. Well, so she's a size Lil.
Yeah, I think more of a size Lil than a, because she started to appear around, I don't know, 94, 93, 94, I want to say. By that point, I'm going to now try to find out how old Lil Kim is. She is 48 right now. So she, What did I say? 1994? We'll say 1994. She burst onto the scene. She was 20 at that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, that's still pretty young. So I also think she's like a very small human. So I think that probably.
She's a forerunner to your Megan Thee Stallion.
She is. Yes, one of the original.
Yeah.
Sex rap in the.
Yeah. Lil Wayne is the.
Yes, and he's in his 40s as well.
And he has a face like in his 60s, or he was set on fire or something. Like
he's had some near death experiences over the recent years. So
not the most handsome man.
Never the most handsome man, but yeah, he's
no. Seems happy and he's always in good spirits.
I guess. Now he was when he came up, he was very young. He was very much a Lil, but has continued to be a Lil. Yeah, but he has continued to be a Lil.
Yeah. Was he the guy that somebody filmed just railing a girl at the hockey game in the fucking luxury box? Was he the one?
I don't know. Someone in the Dodo chat room will tell it. I don't know. I don't remember.
Someone was at a hockey game.
I
want to say it was Dallas Stars. I could be off on the team. And it was a rapper with a Lil name, and he was just railing this chick in the luxury box. And someone in like the other box put it on TikTok or something.
Okay.
I can't remember who it was, but and I don't think it was Lil Wayne now that I think about it. Who is Lil Uzi Vert a real person?
That is a person. Yeah, I don't know if that. If he knocked on my door right now, I wouldn't know what Lil Uzi Vert looks like. But
maybe it was Lil Uzi Vert. Oh, someone got it. Like you said, it was a Florida Panthers game, and it was Kodak Black.
So not a Lil at all.
Not Kodak. A Lil, but a gimmick name is where I was confused.
Kodak Black.
Kodak
okay.
Black. Yeah.
Florida Panthers. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Look that up. You might be able to see. He's killing her in the luxury box.
I'll look it up
during the hockey game
after the show. Yeah, how about that?
He must not have had money on the game because he wasn't too into it. So he was.
You're telling me Kodak Black wasn't into a Florida Panthers game? Wow.
I don't know. He had a luxury. Maybe he's a fan. How am I supposed to know?
He's a big fan. Yeah, they're good. They're a good team, right? These days, the Florida Panthers. I have no idea. I don't know anything about Van Beesder. Who's the guy that? I was always him in I was always the Panthers in NHL.
Did you just make a Jeff Van Beesbrook? He probably is 60 and retired 20 years ago. He was the Rangers goalie in 93 or something.
I always tell people because people are always like, "Oh, you guys should talk hockey." I'm like, you don't want us to talk hockey. Like all of our references and the only players we know are from 1994 to 2001, and I know no other people after that. So no, you don't want me to do that. Basically 1991 to 2001 is all I know. So yes, I would. When I hear Florida Panthers, I think of John Van Beesbrook or whatever the fuck his name was, and nobody.
John Van Beesbrook. Yeah. I don't know if they're good now, but maybe not. He wasn't too into the game. He was real on that chick.
Well, I mean, you could do both.
Nah. I mean,
how long is it going to take? How long is it going to take?
Got to support the team.
Can't be banging during the game.
No, you can't. I don't want anything to do with sex when my teams are on. Got to support the team. I don't want to mix those two things. It's weird. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, $5 tier. Find out the WWE bullshit that I'm very angry about from the that was a spirited Dynamite review, by the way. It wasn't the only thing I got mad at. I started off calm, tranquilo, I was going
more than talking about death, other than talking about us being one day closer to death.
I promised to not go crazy, and then I lost my shit during the Dynamite review. So I was burying people left and right. So I don't know. It's a good show.
There you go. $5 tier. FlagshipPatreon.com to get that.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. So many people are expecting discussions of a potential new refrigerator that you have
purchased. People care about my refrigerator,
and that will come in time. We will organically get to refrigerator talk at some point. Okay. But I have something else for you right now, and this is I don't mean to steal your gimmick, because your match game gimmick that you do sometimes with all this. I'm not going to do noises and sound effects and all that sort of stuff because I don't have those sort of production values like you do, where you're playing the match game song on your phone. And I also don't want to steal from Joe Gagney and the Voice of Wrestling Podcast Network's 5-star match game quiz show, wrestling quiz show. Make sure you subscribe and listen to that on the Voice of Wrestling Podcast Network. But this appeared this week, and Joe, I think it's a good game for us to play right now. I don't know if you saw this, but the website givemesport.com. This is a quiz by your close personal friend Louis Dangor. It's called WWE Ultimate 2022 quiz. Are you ready for this?
Remember when I got mad at him on Twitter and told him off, and then he came into the DMs to offer an olive branch, and I told him to go stick it, and he hasn't tried to talk to us since.
I do.
Yeah. That's why Rich is very pleased that I'm no longer accessing the DMs. Oh, wait, sorry. Whoa. I was gonna give you some match game music, but of course the ad plays.
Of course. Get that YouTube Premium, man. Come on. $10 a month.
I'm not paying
for
that
for
shit.
Itself. Pays for itself. You'll see. It pays for itself.
Oh, does it?
It doesn't. It doesn't pay for itself. You pay for it, but it's it's good.
That's definitely not something that pays for itself. That's not the definition of pays for itself. All right.
I'm happy to play it in the background of the video if you'd or
but people like it this way.
Okay, I can't even hear it. Is it going?
Yeah, you can't hear that?
Not really. It's coming in very muffled and very weird, but it could be your new headset. Maybe this new microphone's not good for it.
You know what? You don't respect it. I'm not going to play it.
I couldn't hear it. It wasn't a respect thing. I just couldn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone and everybody else was hearing it loud and clear, but I was not hearing it. Anyway.
You said that last time that you couldn't hear it, and it's like, I'm not doing anything different.
I don't know.
I was holding the phone up to the mic like I always do.
Do you want to try again? I want you to try again.
Okay.
I want you to try again. I will lay out for a minute, let you try to get it going.
The volume is cranked. Are you ready for the game show music?
Of course. It sounds terrible. That's all I'm going to tell you. It sounds horrible. I don't know what to tell you.
How can you not hear that?
It sounds terrible. Listen, the Note of Sharon's going to tell you. They can't hear it either. It's awful. Do you want me to try to play it on my? You want me to try to play it on my YouTube Premium here?
No. Now,
okay.
Look. Now I just feel embarrassed. So let's just do the Dangor quiz and
the bit's already ruined. So
right. You've thoroughly humiliated me. So I'm ready
to hear it. I wanted to hear it.
I'm ready to score poorly on this quiz. Is what I'm ready to do.
Are you looking at the buzzer 10 minutes of the match game main theme? Is that the video you watch?
Yeah, that's my match game theme. 10
like that, right?
Yeah, that's
Can you hear that?
Sounds terrible.
Does it actually sound terrible, or are you just saying that because you're upset?
No, it's like all choppy.
Yeah. Okay. Fuck this shit. All right. Let's do this. Let us do the. You know what? I had a noise cancel. I wonder if it was doing that.
Fuck this. What are you, superhuman? Fuck this shit. Fuck this shit. Jump through an old microwave or something next? Is that what you're gonna do? You got some mouse traps set up somewhere with.
I do have mouse traps set up. We've had some.
Oh, the gigolos and gigolettes.
Is he fully canceled at this point, or what's the status of Superhuman? I don't see him these days.
He's like Sabu.
You can't cancel the Superhuman.
It's like Sabu and Joe Lanza. Like, what's the point?
You can't cancel what's already been canceled. Yeah, it's Anyway, all right. How much have you?
I think Kanye West is redefining being.
Kanye is taking it to a whole new level this week, including today, where Alex Jones was like, "Hey, you're not really a Nazi, right?" He's like, "No, I'm a Nazi. I love Nazis." He's like, "Okay, we're done here." Like,
when you have
Alex Jones being like, "Let's take things back a little bit. People, you're not actually a Nazi, right?" He's like, "No, I am." And, okay.
Yeah. When you have Alex Jones tugging his collar, a
guy who's paying $9 billion to Sandy Hook families because he's such a fucking idiot, and now
when you go on Tim Pool's podcast and walk off, and even Tim Pool is like, "Oh man, this guy's crazy." Like, this is the level of canceled this man is now.
Yeah, he is taking it to a whole new level. So
he's double and tripling down. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyway,
okay. How much have you been paying attention to what's been happening in WWE this year? WWE has had one of the craziest years in recent memory, with several massive news stories and storylines dominating our screens since the turn of the year. Stories involving Roman Reigns, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Brock Lesnar, Vince McMahon, Triple H, and more have dominated the wrestling world over the last 12 months. Nothing about the story, what the story with Vince McMahon is, just, story.
Oh,
he was just in a story.
What is he doing? Just ask me the question. What is Dangor doing?
Ultimate WWE 2022 quiz. But how much do you think you remember about everything that's happened in WWE in 2022? Below is a 15-question ultimate quiz for WWE in 2022, testing your knowledge for the year of professional wrestling. So now there is a scoring system in here as well. 0 to 3 correct is, did you ever watch WWE this year? Hopefully you get between there. 4 to 7 is...
Unfortunately, I did.
Right, so you might do better, 4 to 7 is casual WWE fan. 8 to 11 is decent WWE knowledge. 12 to 14 is you know your stuff. And number 15, which I'm assuming you will be, all 15 right, hardcore WWE fan. So best
I'm gonna
of
tell you
luck,
right now,
Joe.
I'm going to tell you right now, there's no chance I'm getting all these right. I guarantee you I've seen every show and match that's going to be questioned, but I don't retain a thing from WWE because I don't give a fuck about WWE. We talk about it on the show and then it's wiped from my brain. I'm thinking right now, I have no idea who won the Royal Rumble. Not a fucking clue.
Now that you mention it.
You know who won the Royal Rumble without thinking too hard about it? I don't have a fucking clue.
Which is so bad because we do like a show. Part of our show is like we make fun of people for not knowing enough about wrestling.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I'm with you that like I finished watching War Games and we're going to talk about it here.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go to bed tomorrow. And then hopefully I will never, ever, ever think about a minute of what I saw over this last week with War Games. Like that, I do it for the show. And then my brain thankfully is wired well enough to know, okay, we don't need this. Go. And it just goes. And I don't remember any of it. Who won the Royal Rumble this year? I have no fucking idea.
We're gonna review War Games and have lots of takes.
Yes.
And then in 2 months, if we tried to do it with no notes, we wouldn't remember a fucking thing from that show. That's how it goes with this company. I legit, without thinking too hard about it, cannot remember who won either Royal Rumble
The
match.
best part about this is when we say stuff like this, the no-dope chat room is always filled with like, this person, crickets. There's not a single. We have Paul who says, "Holy shit, I don't know who won the Royal Rumble either." Like, nobody has jumped on and said, "Guys, da 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 da." You know, we get something wrong about All Japan, and you got Gerard there being like, "No, it was Black Mental Ray or whatever." You know, seconds. So the no-dope chat room constantly we get something wrong, and 14 seconds later, there's 27 messages from people telling, "No, not a soul, still here."
Yeah, where are you, the swink? Where are you tonight? Right?
A little tougher when it's the Royal Rumble. We have I can't remember. Right. All right. Yeah. Well, maybe this will come up, and we'll organically get to this.
Yeah, maybe
of who this was. So, what pay-per-view did Cody Rhodes debut at? Now it's multiple choice here. Thank God you don't have to.
I don't need. You know what? I don't need your multiple choice. This is like, do you ever see that guy who was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Oh, where he called the help a friend or the call a friend or whatever, and was like, "I won $1 million."
Yeah, he didn't use any lifelines, and then he got to the $1 million question and
called his mom or something like that. Yeah,
who was it? It was Regis, right? The host at that time.
Yes, of course.
And he's like, "Regis, I'd like to phone a friend," and he called his dad. He's like, "Dad, I don't need your help. I'm just going to tell you I'm about to win $1 million." And he swagger walked into that question and won the $1 million. Rich, I don't need your fucking multiple choice. Cody debuted at WrestleMania.
At WrestleMania, you are... I don't know. It doesn't say if you're correct or not. I guess we have to wait till the end. All right.
Put it on the board. Put it on the board.
Yes. All right.
That's a reference for you.
Yes, I said yes. I did the Hawk Harrelson. Yes,
I didn't hear that. All right,
I got you. I got you.
Nicely done. Okay.
So apparently you have to wait till the end to find out if you were right about any of these. So a bit of a cliffhanger on that. But all right.
Certainly you don't know whether I'm right or not. So
I think you're right. But, which of these names did not main event WrestleMania this year? So you will need the multiple choice, unfortunately, for this one. Okay. Right. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Brock Lesnar, Bianca Belair, or Roman Reigns? Which of these names did not main event WrestleMania this year?
Well, Kevin Owens and Stone Cold main evented night one, or one of the nights. And I believe Roman and Brock main evented one of the nights, because Roman, who allegedly is having this amazing run, was outdrawn by the opposite nights of WrestleMania this year. Huge game-changing needle mover.
The needle mover, yeah.
So I'm going to say Bianca Belair.
Bianca Belair. Okay, we'll put that answer
Final answer.
in. Final answer. Yeah. All right, we'll find out later.
Hey, can we use Who Wants to Be a Millionaire rules? Can I phone a friend? Because it would definitely be the swink.
Sure, and he's in the No-Dope chat room now. So sure, yes. Okay. If you're stumped on a question, I think. What were the other ones? There's phone a friend. There was another thing too, but we're just
phone a friend. Then you could poll the fucking studio audience.
Oh, that was the worst. Like, those dopes know anything. If that guy sitting in the chair doesn't know, the dopes in the audience don't know either. So
yeah, it's hard to trust them. Then there was the 50-50 where they'd eliminate two answers. And was that all of them, or was there a fourth one?
It might have been it, yeah.
I can't remember. Who cares?
A lot of WrestleMania questions here. Number 3, where was WrestleMania held this year? Was it New York, Los Angeles, New Orleans, or Texas?
Yeah. Texas is
Texas. New York.
No city?
I guess not. Just the state of Texas.
Yeah, it was in Dallas.
It was in Dallas, which is in Texas. So I guess Texas is the rest of these, Los Angeles is a city, New York is a city, New Orleans is a city, and then Texas. So
you go in New Orleans or New Orleans?
Ooh, I do New Orleans. I'm not cool enough to do New Orleans. I'm not cool enough for that.
Well, that's not the cool one. There's New Orleans. There's New Orleans.
I'm way not cool enough for Nolans. That's no way.
You're not a Nolans guy.
No,
you can't be a Nolans guy.
Look,
right?
you've met me. Can I be a Nolans guy? No.
You're not a Nolans guy?
No.
All right. So the answer, it's Texas.
It's Texas.
Do you think Dangor didn't put a city because he was afraid like Dallas and Arlington are two different cities and wanted to?
Oh, you're right. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think he thought about it that hard.
I think you're thinking about it harder than he did.
Yeah, it'd be like if I was trying to name cities and wherever the fuck he's from, and it'd be like, he's English, right?
Yeah, so you'd be like London or
London,
Blackpool or
Scotland.
right?
Yeah, Blackpool
United
on
Kingdom.
time.
You would just say United Kingdom as you always do, just to say, you know what?
Alaman.
Yeah. Who has Logan Paul not shared a ring with in 2022? The answer, or the answer, one of the four answers is Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, Rey Mysterio, or The Miz.
No, he wrestled The Miz. He wrestled Roman Reigns. I believe he was in. I want to say he was in a tag match with Mysterio.
This one's tough. This one's a little tough. I also had a little bit of a.
This is where you'd ask for a lifeline and use the 50-50, but it would give you Sami Zayn and Rey Mysterio, and it wouldn't help because those are the two you're trying to narrow down. Right. I'm going to say Sami Zayn.
Okay. We're going to lock that in, find out where we are in a little bit here.
Lock in Sami Zayn.
Number 5. Which of these names appeared in the 2022 Royal Rumble match? Was it Bad Bunny? Was it The Undertaker? Was it Kurt Angle? Or was it Vince McMahon? I love cheeky Vince McMahon answers in a year where he had to resign due to numerous sexual allegations and hush funds and stuff. Yeah, let's throw him in a cheeky little answer here. Yeah, good fun.
What terrible, like it's Bad Bunny, but like those other options are awful. That's not throwing anyone off the scent.
Everybody knows it's Bad Bunny.
Undertaker? What?
All right, you ready for another cheeky Vince McMahon one? Here we have, which of these names didn't win 100% of their matches in 2022, okay? So which of these names did not win 100% of their matches in 2022? All of their matches would be a good way to do it, too. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Vince McMahon, Pat McAfee, or Johnny Knoxville?
Pat McAfee, because he lost to McMahon.
Yeah.
All those other men were 1-0. So, Pat McAfee, lock it in.
McAfee, all right. This one's going to be tough for you. Which of these names didn't win the WWE Championship in 2022? Okay, the heralded WWE Championship. Ready?
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, Seth freaking Rollins, and Roman Reigns.
Seth Rollins. Oh, Seth freaking Rollins.
Seth freaking, thank you, please.
Seth freaking Rollins,
please.
Yeah.
All right. Which of these men did not win the Intercontinental Championship in 2022? Okay. IC title. Kevin Owens, Gunther, Sami Zayn, or Rick O'Shea?
Well, obviously Gunther.
I think he currently holds it, right?
Yeah. Now, if you were to ask me who the Intercontinental Champion was in, say, February, good fucking luck. I'm liable to say Tito Santana as much as anybody. Kevin Owens,
Rick O'Shea, and Sami Zayn. The honorary honorary Uso.
Did Sami Zayn and Owens feud over that belt early this year?
Sure. Yes.
Which may have felt like 20 years ago. I'm gonna say Ricochet.
Okay.
I'm not confident in this one.
Do I spoil it for you now?
Can you?
I'm gonna click Ricochet because that's what you answered. Yes, because we laughed about him. He made a tweet that said, "I just want a chance. I just want to make it to TV to prove what I could do."
Yeah.
And he did that while he was Intercontinental Champion.
Oh, fuck. Right.
The dorkiest way possible. Because I remember people were like, oh, man, that sucks about Ricochet. They're like, wait a minute, he's the IC champion.
Yeah.
Because he had this like very depressing tweet, like, I just want a chance to prove what I can do.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, yeah, that sucks. He's a talented. What a minute, he's the IC champion? What the fuck? Like,
yeah.
And he hadn't been on TV in months. So it's like, oh, well, he's kind of right. All right, 9.
Well, you know what? When he re-signs again, just, fuck off. Fuck off.
Who made a shock appearance in the Women's Royal Rumble match in 2022? Who made a shock appearance? Okay.
Well, that could be. I mean, maybe I'm shocked by all of these people.
Right, exactly. Mickey James could have shocked you, and that's one of the answers here. So this is a very tough. Because
this is subjective.
This is a strange question. I will admit. Beth Phoenix.
Yeah.
Mickey James. Layla, and Karma. The former Awesome Kong, Karma.
Well, it wasn't Karma. I have to get into the brain of Dangor to answer.
Now here's where again I have to ask. I thought Beth Phoenix was in the Royal Rumble, wasn't she?
I see. That's the thing.
Layla was in there too, right? Or am I making up the Layla thing?
Totally possible.
I may be making up the Layla thing. Maybe that didn't happen.
Because Mickie James was actually in the match, and I know that for sure, and because I think via Dangor brain, he would think that was shocking and exciting, and he was probably one of the goofs who thought it was going to open up a long-term relationship between Impact and WWE. Yeah. I'm going to go with Mickie James.
Mickie James made a shock appearance at the 2022.
At minimum, I know she was in the match.
Yes,
and I don't know about the
others. Which of these pay-per-view events did Cody Rhodes not face Seth Rollins at? WrestleMania, WrestleMania Backlash, Money in the Bank, or Hell in a Cell?
It was Money in the Bank because Cody did all of the promo commercial work for Money in the Bank, and then he ended up not even working the show. For some reason, my brain remembers that.
Okay.
Like, remember Money in the Bank was supposed to be in the Raiders Stadium in Vegas, and he shot that commercial for it, but then they moved it to the smaller building. Actually, was that the match with the torn pec?
I already clicked it, but I will tell you, no, that was Hell in a Cell. I do remember it because that was in Chicago, so I remember that.
Yeah, Money in the Bank, final answer.
All right, who has beaten Roman Reigns in a match in 2022? Is it Brock Lesnar? Is it Seth Rollins? Seth freaking Rollins, Logan Paul, or Bobby Lashley?
Okay, it wasn't Logan Paul. I don't think it was Bobby Lashley. Roman beat Brock at WrestleMania. Did they do a quickie change there? I couldn't. It's crazy. Like the world title in WWE, and I don't fucking know this year whether Roman lost it to somebody and won it back. That's how little I care. It's Brock, and who's the other option? Seth
Brock,
Rollins.
Seth freaking Rollins, Logan Paul, and Bobby Lashley.
I'm gonna go with Brock.
Brock Lesnar. Okay, lock that in there. Only a few more here to go. 12. Another cheeky Vince McMahon. What month did Vince McMahon officially retire from WWE, Joe? He decided to, you know what, guys, it's been great. I've loved my job here as, president of this company, but it is time for me to officially retire. So what month did Vince McMahon officially retire from WWE?
Give me the options. I've got it narrowed down to July and August.
May, June, July, August.
Motherfucker. SummerSlam was Paul Levesque's first pay-per-view, and that was in August this year. So, or was it in July? It's normally at the tail end of August.
Yeah, you're right.
Let me work this out in my brain here.
You're right. But
so Vince was. I'm gonna say he resigned.
Retired, Joe. Retired. There's a picture of him smiling with the microphone here.
Did Dangor write retired?
Retire, yeah, officially retire. That's why I was joking about it, because there's a picture of him smiling, and it says, "What month did Vince McMahon officially retire?" Like, if you woke up from a coma, you would think that Vince McMahon came out on Raw and just said, "It's been a pleasure to serve," and he kind of did, which is also bizarre too. He kind of did that, but it's been a pleasure to serve you as the head of World Wrestling Entertainment, and I must retire. So bye. Everybody went, "Thank you, Vince. Thank you, Vince." And that kind of happened again. That's kind of what happened. But the way, if you woke up from a coma, you would just think that this guy just decided it was time to step aside. I've had my fill of running this company. But
I think the tweet read, "At 77, it's time to retire. time to go." You would think that he's on a beach somewhere sipping pina coladas and which he probably is doing.
I mean, he probably at this point is, yes.
He's got that cougar. She's like 50, his girlfriend, which is young for him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Running around with that blonde. I'm going to say July.
July. All right, lock it in. SummerSlam was late July this year. It was very strange SummerSlam because they were doing the Clash of the Castle show in August, so they had to bump the SummerSlam to July. All right. Who was inducted?
So a cougar is like in their 40s or 50s, right?
Yes. Yeah. Can you date a cougar if you are older than the cougar? Is that what you're asking?
No. Here's where I'm going with this. So a cougar, we all can agree, is like a woman in their 40s or 50s who's still holding it together, right? A porn cougar is like a woman in their 30s, like by porn standards. They're like the MILFs are always like 31.
Yeah, you're
right?
like, this woman is like 34 years old. So.
Yeah. So
it's like, you got to do your homework. And it's like, this is like, she is the same age as this man. Like, what is happening?
Listen, porn rules are different rules just for everything. We know this. So what do you call a woman who's like in her 60s or 70s, but still keeping it together? Because I don't think that's a cougar. Do you call that like a dying cougar? Like, what do you call that?
Dying cougar. I don't think you call it a dying cougar. I'm not sure. Because
there's some women of that age who keep it together.
Well, I was always under the impression that to be a cougar, you have to want to date younger men. Like, I didn't think you could just be a cougar and just... So, like, in this case, I don't know if I would call Vince McMahon's lady a cougar because he is older than her.
True.
You see what I'm saying? Right? Am I applying the term correctly?
Yeah, I think I agree with you.
It's not just a hot older woman. It's like an older woman that wants to date men that are younger.
Yeah. Like, how old's Dolly Parton? She got to be in her 70s, right?
I think she's older than that. 76. 76.
I probably would.
You thinking about Dolly? All right, hey, you know what?
I probably would, okay? But that's not a cougar to me because I think she's
too old to be a cougar. Yeah, she's something completely different.
You know? So I was just thinking about that. Like who else?
Specifically
like
for Dolly Parton, or just you were just thinking about it in general?
No, I was just thinking in general. Like, yeah, I got her. She's in here. She's not harassing me yet, so it's okay. Yeah. No, she's still here.
What a conversation to jump in.
Well, it's the fucking, you know what involves.
Ask her. Ask TLB.
She already left.
Damn.
I should have asked her. Anyway, so I don't know. Cougar classification. What's the limit? It's got to be 59. I think when you hit 60,
60s,
you can't be a cougar anymore.
Right.
I
agree.
Anyway,
is Cougar Town still on? Remember that show, Cougar Town?
No, it got canceled at least 15 years ago.
Okay. 15? No way.
Cougar Town?
15 years ago? Get out of here.
I bet it's close to 15.
Cougar Town was not 15 years ago. There's no way.
Pull that shit up.
Cougar Town. Courtney Cox was in that, I remember. I don't know who else was in it. Cougar Town was on ABC from 2009 to 2012, then moved to TBS from 2013 to 2015.
All right.
Not that old. All right.
Okay. All right. 2015. Do we count the TBS run?
Of course you got to count the TBS run. Yeah.
I don't know. I think you just count the network run, but it's still only 10 years.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Courtney Cox, Busy Phillips. Oh, come on. She was like 20. There's no way. How old was she when she was doing that show?
Not cougar age.
No, she's 43 now. Get out of here. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Absurd. No, yeah, that was not but I don't think she was one of the cougars.
Oh, was she not one of the cougars? Okay.
On Cougar Town.
Got it. I know Courtney Cox was absolutely one of the cougars. Okay. I apologize sorry. I apologize to Busy Phillips. She was the, quote, Jules' young, attractive employee is what it says here. So,
yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, dude, you're like 33 when this show's coming out. You are not a cougar. But all right. Anyway, back to this. Who was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year, Joe? Was it The Undertaker? Was it Hulk Hogan? Was it The Rock? Or was it Batista?
It wasn't Hulk Hogan.
It's certainly not Hulk Hogan, no.
No.
Vince McMahon inducts Hulk Hogan in the WWE Hall of Fame.
It wasn't
left an indelible mark in the WWE universe.
Who's the other two?
Mark.
Undertaker
and what he would say too. The Undertaker, The Rock, or Batista.
Nah, it's The Undertaker. It wasn't The Rock. He's not in yet either. They're saving him. I don't know for what.
All right, number 14. What did Drew McIntyre do at SummerSlam?
What?
What did WWE have Drew McIntyre do at SummerSlam?
Rich, I'm going to need the multiple quotes.
Okay. Did he A, cut a promo? Did he B, not feature on the show? Did he C, face Roman Reigns? Or did he D, face Jinder Mahal?
He didn't face Jinder Mahal. He faced Roman at Seizing the Castle or whatever the fuck that was called. He was either left off the show or cut a promo. This was the SummerSlam.
The Rich? SummerSlam, yep.
I'm going to say cut a promo.
All right. I can't help you on that one. I have no idea what he did at SummerSlam. All right. And then finally, number 15 out of 15. Who left WWE this year? Was it Adam Cole? Was it Keith Lee? Was it Cesaro? Or was it Daniel Bryan?
I was going to say hundreds of thousands of viewers.
Hey. Folks.
Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole. Who are the other ones?
Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, Cesaro, and Keith Lee.
This year. Well, it wasn't Daniel Bryan or Adam Cole. They were September of 2021. So it was either Bearcat Lee or
Claudio.
Cesaro.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cesaro was out there for a while. I don't know if he was cut or his contract expired. He wasn't cut. If you want to get technical. Keith Lee or Cesaro. I will say Keith Lee left this year.
All right. We'll add Keith Lee there. All right. You ready for your results?
I am. I'm nervous, but hopeful.
Nervous, but hopeful. Okay. So
yeah.
The scale again, let me just make sure I have it right. Again, okay, it won't give me the scale now, so I don't care. All right, I don't know. Whatever the fucking scale was. Joe, you scored 12 out of 15. 80% correct, so not bad. Doesn't tell me. I'll review your answers. Let's see here. All right, the ones you didn't...
Go ahead.
The ones you got right. What pay-per-view did Cody Rhodes debut at? WrestleMania. So ding, ding, ding. You were correct.
Tell us what we got wrong. Tell us what we got wrong.
Because this is going to take a while. Which of these names did not win the Intercontinental Champion 2022? You answered Ricochet. As I told you, he made the very pathetic tweet. Kevin Owens was never Intercontinental Champion in 2022. Who actually beat Roman Reigns in a match in 2022? You answered Brock Lesnar. That was incorrect. Seth freaking Rollins beat him, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I don't...
Sure.
Remember that, but sure. And who has left WWE this year? Keith Lee, incorrect. The correct answer is Cesaro.
Oh, all right. Well, I could have went either way.
Yeah. I don't know. When did Keith Lee leave? I thought he was this year, but maybe I'm wrong. Oh, but he had a lot of health issues and stuff. So yeah, maybe he was out.
That's true.
Maybe he was out for a while before that. So okay.
Yeah. Well,
there you go. So you are I forget what the I don't remember the criteria of what the quiz was.
I believe I remember, if you get 80%, it means you're a fucking loser. That's what that means.
So there you are. So congratulations.
You watch way too much WWE, and you are. Congratulations. You're a fucking loser. That's that. So there you go. That's my prize.
Yeah,
put that one around my neck.
There you go. All right. So that was the WWE Ultimate WWE 2022 quiz thing or whatever. So congratulations, I guess. So you remember more than you thought about World Wrestling Entertainment. In the year 2020.
I did. Dan Gore didn't dig too deep.
Those are not deep cuts. That's a pretty easy. Yeah, it's not hard to do. So, but anyway.
Yeah. All right.
Well, there you go. I thought we'd have some fun with that. And we did. So, okay. Now I guess, I don't know, where do you want to go with topics here? Because should we just go right into Survivor? If we're already miserable talking about WWE, should we just do it?
Well, let's see. We've got the Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Super Junior Tag League of New Japan. We have the World Tag League of New Japan. We have the Real World Tag League of All Japan Pro Wrestling. We have the Junior Battle of Glory of All Japan Pro Wrestling. I think we should go Survivor Series, a show, Rich, that had a moment that made two different ringer hosts cry.
Oh no.
That's right.
That's the tease. All right. I think I know what that moment is.
You want to try to guess? Because we had to bury the ringer again.
Shotzi lost after dedicating the match to her dead father.
No.
Oh. That did happen, though.
It did. It was Sami Zayn hugging Jey Uso. Yeah. Brought two different ringer hosts to tears.
Do you believe that they were actually driven to tears?
Kaz of the Masked Man show claims it brought him to tears. And Stat Guy Greg of the Dopey Pete show claims that it brought a tear to his eye, Ric Flair style, with a tear in my eye. I'm sure he never saw that promo.
Probably not. Or he's seen it in like in clip form. You know what I mean? Like WWE when they do they don't even show that though, do they? When they do their like the Royal Rumble, they do like the Royal Rumble math thing or whatever. You know, it's like doon. It's like 27 men have entered the Royal Rumble at number 12. You know, so but no, they probably don't play that even in there.
So I don't know if they really did cry, if it really did tear up their eyes.
Yeah, I guess interesting question. What's dorkier? Actually legitimately earnestly crying when Sami Zayn hugged an Uso and became Us, or lying about crying about Sami Zayn hugging an Uso and it like what's worse?
I see, I think with the Kaz guy, I don't think he really cried. I think he was, because the way he said it, he was like, man, that brought a tear to my eye. And he laughed, almost putting over the moment. Now, the Stat Guy Greg, he may have actually had tears in his eyes, the way he said it. So, I don't know. The jury's out.
Okay.
Maybe you can send an email to their mailbag and ask them if they legitimately cry.
Yeah, and what's dorkier, lying about crying or actually crying about?
Yeah, I don't know. Did you have a tear in your eye when Sami Zayn hugged Jey Uso?
I did, because I just wasted 3.5 hours of my fucking life that I'm never getting back. And I contemplated death, and you know, my dog, there was 4 less hours that I'll be able to spend with my dogs, you know, before they pass away. You know what I mean? Four less hours that I'll be able to read a book or do, you know what I mean? Like that's where the tear came in my eye. It's just like, why do I do this to myself? Why do I do this?
Let me ask you a question. Do you think we're being a little mean? Has pro wrestling ever brought you to tears?
Brought me to tears. I don't know if it's ever brought me to tears. No, I don't think so.
I'm thinking
I'm not much of a crier though. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with crying, but I'm just not much of a wrestling doesn't hit me on that level. I have a different like with Sami Zayn, like when he won the NXT title, that was like one of my favorite moments of watching wrestling. And I remember that Chick Them Ropes did like a live show afterwards, and I called them and I was just screaming about how awesome I thought it was and how perfect it all was, but it didn't bring a tear to my eye. It was just kind of like, you know, I get like pumped up, you know what I mean? Like I don't get sad or like, not sad's not the right word, but it doesn't like, you know, I don't get like proud, you know, like crying for a good reason. I don't get that. I just get real fucking pumped up. You know what I mean? I'm just like, hell yeah, baby, let's go.
Stone Cold Rich Kraetsch over here. Yeah. No tears. No more tears. What are you, Ozzy Osbourne? The man doesn't cry. Okay. You're no Jim Valvano. You know, the famous quote. If you laugh, you think, and you cry, that's a full day. That's a hell of a day.
There it is. Good for him.
It's a great speech. You know, they replay that every year. Around this time of year, the Valvano speech, you know, he died like 2 months later or whatever. They played it last night, actually. I make it a point when they replay that speech to sit there and watch it. That's
they replay the whole speech, right? Every year.
The whole speech.
Yeah.
And the thing about that Valvano
speech, I will say, I'm not much of a crier, but I have seen that in full, and that does target your heart.
That'll well,
because that's a guy,
you know?
Looking at death. Like he knows he's dying very, very soon. Like he knows any day now he is going to die, and he's just laying it all out there, saying, "Hey, here it is. You know what? I got nothing to lose at this point. I'm gonna die, but here you go."
He was bedridden leading up to that. People don't. It's like because he went through chemo but didn't lose his hair. He's one of those rare people who did the chemo but his hair didn't fall out. So he didn't have the look of a person who was, you know, on the way out. And he you know, they say the pain that he was in was unbearable. And you remember Dick Vitale and Coach K helping him off the stage. He couldn't even get off the stage on his own, but he stood. The best part of that speech is that moment where he's like, look at this. I got this guy telling me 15 seconds, wrap up. I got tumors all over my body. Phenomenal, buddy.
I'm not wrapping up. I'm going to die. What are you going to do? Fire me? Yeah, like, what are you going to do?
He talked like 8 more minutes.
Yeah, because what are you going to do? What are you going to do to the guy that's about to die? Like, hey, guy that's going to die in a couple weeks, get off the stage. We got to go. Like, no, fuck off.
Fantastic part of the speech. Yeah. But we got Stone Cold Rich Kraetsch over here. He don't cry. I can't think of a wrestling moment. The closest I came to crying pro wrestling was maybe talking about that Tomohiro Ishii Tetsuya.
No, you cried. No. You cried during that, man.
It's close. I don't know if actual tears flowed, but talking about that match made me emotional. But so are we being too harsh on the Ringer crew?
Maybe.
Having a tear in their eye.
For the bloodline?
See, now that's the thing. I don't think that this is worthy of tears. It's a silly story. Like, it's goofy. Like, Sami Zayn's a comedy character. Like, what?
Right. Well, like, the time that I said that, like, when Sami Zayn won the NXT title, it was... I'd been watching every single week of NXT to that point. I'd been watching El Generico for, 5 years before that. So I'd known that I'd seen his entire rise. And the whole build of that was like, I'm sick of being, everybody laughing at me and thinking I'm a fucking joke or whatever. Like, you don't get to end me, I get to end you. He beats Adrian Neville or whatever. And he just he hits the haluva kick. Like, he's about to use the title to try to hit the guy. But then he says, nah, I'm not going to win it that way. And he tosses the title down, hits the haluva kick, gets the 1, 2, 3. And it's like, that was because that was a guy saying, you know what? And even does that thing like he like takes his hand over his face and is just like, no, I got to do it right now. This is it. I'm gonna do it. And he does, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just that's because that was a guy like shedding all that had kind of weighed him down for all the years and and all that sort of stuff. Like, that's something that can get you. Some people have some decent ones in the chat room, like the Cody Dustin after their bloodbath at Double or Nothing or whatever. Them hugging or whatever. That okay, I get that. That's fine.
I love, this is my favorite one. I cried when Earthquake sat on Hulk's chest. I was 4.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I cried when Earthquake sat on Hulk's chest. Not even when he killed the snake. When he sat on Hulk's chest.
That guy wrote a letter. That guy wrote a postcard to Hulk Hogan and got on WWE's mailing list for sure, right?
Okay, now this guy, I cried when I read Misawa died. I don't count that.
That's not a wrestling thing. That's not
a wrestling moment. Like, right. A guy died. That's not that one. I don't count. I'm not discounting your emotions, sir. Like, I'm not, your emotion here is valid. I just don't consider that, cry. That's not a wrestling moment. That something worked is the idea. Right. He is shoot dead. So you can't. That's not a worked moment.
Right, you're allowed to get emotional that a guy that you enjoyed watching is now dead. Right. And he died tragically, too. Not like...
Right, horrible.
Like you knew that Misawa was going to die, and then it's like, oh, man, well, he died very tragically and very awfully. So, yeah, that definitely...
We got Naito hitting the Stardust Press on Okada. We've got... I'm just going through some of these.
Daniel Bryan retirement. And that's a fair one. But again, I don't know. That one I kind of put in a different...
You know what? I'm going to count that one.
Okay.
In the ring, cutting a promo.
I may have gotten a little much. I may have gotten a little much at that. That was pretty tough.
Borderline. How about this
Aubrey holding back tears in the front row. That was tough.
How about Punk showing up at First Dance?
Nah, I didn't cry. I was too busy jumping up and down and going, hell yeah.
A lot of people cried. Viano 4 unmasking. Unmaskings. Those are good ones.
The unmaskings, I will say, even though I don't have like as much of a connection to those guys as some people do, that one is tough because it's super emotional because the whole family gets in there. The guy takes his mask off and then they announce him as his real name and he's actually this year old. And like that guy's whole life is changing in that moment. So that I get. That is pretty... That one's fair. I could see... I wouldn't make fun of you if you cried about...
I got one that I think that got me too. The Brody Lee tribute.
Oh shit! Yeah, that one did. Yeah.
Do you know the first time on that? What I lost it when Colt Cabana came out because he lost it. Like,
yes. Yeah. Other people. I don't cry normally just because I'm crying. When I see other people cry, that's when I cry.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Colt
like
came out and Colt couldn't hold it, and then I lost it too. Like that's it's Yeah, crying's like that sometimes where it's almost like puke. Like you see someone else puke and then you puke.
Like you're close, but you're like, I'm fine. And then someone else is bawling. Somebody that you know is bawling, and you're just like, I'm done.
Like, oh, yeah, that's too much. Yeah, like you feel bad for that person because they feel bad, and then and then Stone Cold Rich Kraetsch realizes that he too has this internalized sadness, and then it comes out. Right? That's how that works.
Yeah,
I just diagnose you
a little bit.
Sasha Bailey in Brooklyn. So there's a bunch of these that people are bringing up. First time hearing the Hard Times promo. I can kind of see where that person's coming from, but yeah. Anyway, so thumbs up, thumbs down. We're being too hard on the Ringer guys.
Maybe yeah.
I don't think that's a cryable moment.
No,
really
it's not like
that stupid hug.
It was all comedy. Like it was all like here's like a comedy figure.
Like he's a comedy. Like I understand it was a serious moment for Sammy, who has been a goofy character. I get that, but this storyline's too cartoonish for me to
right. Like I heard a few people in the chat room said like Sasha and Bailey at Brooklyn. And that I get, like they just went out there and had like a seminal moment, one of the best women's matches that you'll ever see in North America, probably the best one to date. And they're in the main event, and the crowd's going nuts, and they've both come up with each other in. So yeah, they stand in the ring afterwards and hug each other. Yeah, you're allowed. I mean that's a cryable moment for sure.
Yeah. But this is like this storyline to me, and I guess this is a good transition into just talking about the show. It's too cartoonish of a storyline for me to take it seriously on that kind of level,
right?
Where it's going to be an emotional storyline, because the entire storyline, these people are like cartoon characters. Like Roman Reigns is doing like baby's first mob boss. You know what I mean? And like Paul Heyman is just this cartoonish, unrealistic.
Heyman is making me hate like everything of Heyman, because I hate this. I hate this current character so much that now when I watch ECW, and I'm like, does ECW actually good? Maybe it actually sucks. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't. But I like, because it's so bad when Roman's like Paul, or what does he call him? He doesn't call him Paul. What's he call him?
No, Wise Man.
Wise Man, get Sammy me.
Yeah, that scene.
And then Paul goes, yes, Tribal Chief. And then he grabs his phone and goes, call Sami Zayn. I'm like, what are we doing?
Eyes bugging out of his head like a fucking
so bad.
Like it's cartoonish. Like it's not like it's not something that should be hitting you.
Wise one, yes, Tribal Chief. It's like, oh god,
yeah, Wise Man. Like it's so like no human really behaves like these people are behaving. You know what I mean? So it's like if there was a real human that behaved the way that Roman behaves in this role, they'd be in a mental hospital. Like a real person wouldn't behave or speak that way.
It just stands and leers and frowns when an Uso talks to him.
So I mean, yeah, like I understand, like if you're into the story, but to me, it's not an emotional story that's gonna like. So I am saying the Ringer guys are geeks if they really cried.
Okay.
When Sami Zayn and Jey Uso hugged, and when Sami Zayn and the right hand man hugged, if you cried, I think that's I think it's okay to mock someone for crying at that, because this isn't an emotional story, it's a cartoon story, right? So
like Sami had been left out, but he had been left out because he's a goofball. You know what I mean? And like, his being left out was because he was annoying. He was an annoying little shithead. It wasn't like he tried really, really, really hard and they were just like, nah, you're not worthy. I mean, he was an annoying little shithead for a long time about it.
Well, it's just over the top subtlety hammer WWE storytelling where it can't, it's hard for that to really connect. Like, okay, there's all right, Daniel Bryan in New Orleans, like that, or maybe Kofi Kingston or some of the ones we already talked about. Okay, but this is cartoonish,
right? Those are seminal moments, and like, because you're also you're getting emotional because of the people involved in this. Like, that you are happy that Daniel Bryan and Bryan Danielson, the human being, just main event in WrestleMania, won the title. You are happy that Kofi Kingston, the wrestler, and Kofi Kingston, the human being, or whatever, won. Same thing with Sasha and Bailey. Like, there's some realism in that, and that's. I've never seen a wrestling thing that's been wrestling characters and gotten emotional over that. I've gotten emotional when, like, I think about the real human beings behind those wrestling characters. Where this, like, you can't actually be happy for Sami Zayn, the human being here. Like that's
listen, they go out there on SmackDown every week and basically do SNL.
They do Jimmy Fallon bits where Sami Zayn makes funny faces and Uso tries to not laugh, and it's like, all right.
And they corpse and everything. Yeah. It's a cartoon. Listen, if next week on SmackDown, Sami Zayn painted a black tunnel on the wall and Jey Uso ran into it like the Roadrunner, it wouldn't be out of place. No. And then right hand man was like, I'm gonna get you, Us. It wouldn't feel out of place. If he went and complained, tribal chief, he painted a tunnel on the wall and it looked like a real tunnel, and I ran into it and I fell down and I'm gonna get him, and that wouldn't be out of place for this. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like cartoon shit. It's fucking Looney Tunes. You shouldn't be crying over that. So anyway, what did you think? I guess we'll start with the main event then. This War Games. Actually, let's start here.
I hate the growling. Stop growling at me. I understand it's War Games. Stop yelling.
Fucking growl. Here's the problem too.
It's time for War Games. I'm like, oh my God, I hate my life. I hate my life. Why do I do this to myself?
You know what's funny?
And then the last person gets in, Roman Reigns again. Ding ding ding! It's now time for War Games.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. The War Games can now begin.
Oh, that's right. She says the War Games can now begin.
Right. Oh, thanks.
And then smoke goes all everywhere. Yeah, that's.
What was the previous 20 minutes that I hated? If War Games is just
it's supposed to be the War Games, the match beyond. They don't use the match beyond because that's Tony Schiavone would tell me. That's the match beyond now begins, but no, they don't.
So the problem, and it's funny because Triple H did a little presser after the show. Nobody asked him about Vince McMahon, by the way. So he does this little presser after the show. Listen to me. How is your first question not? Yeah, Paul, you worked for Vince McMahon for 25 years. He's also your father-in-law. First of all, did you know that he was raping women and paying them off? When did you know? And how are you ensuring that this type of behavior is never going to happen?
Yeah, what have you done to your company to the pervasive sexual this what appears to be a old boys club, where multiple staff members, multiple executives within your company were engaging in frankly unlawful, sexual relations with their fellow employees. Like, what have you done to clean up that? No, that didn't come up.
So how you may not phrase it the way I did, but how is that not the very first question any reporter asks? How is that not? He's never been asked that question, and I'm sure he has an answer prepared for it. And he never has to use the answer because no one has
crumples it up and throws it in a trash can as he leaves, going, "Oh, good."
Now we all know he's going to talk around it and give court, but that's fine. You have to get him on record.
Gotta ask him that.
What the fuck? How has nobody asked him that question in two of these press conferences?
Did they do a standing ovation during this press conference or no?
They didn't. This one wasn't as bad as that British one.
Okay,
but it was
chanting? Clapping and chanting.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as that one. But where they're like playing along with kayfabe, where they're acknowledging the tribal chief.
They put their fingers up.
Yeah, the finger up, So anyway, in this presser, he talked about how he wants to change some of the PLEs because it doesn't make sense to just like something like Hell in a Cell needs to come organically at the end of a story. All the shit that we always complain about, where why are we doing a Hell in a Cell just because it's time to do Hell in a Cell? We need to build up a feud. And remember, all the WWE fans on Twitter used to yell at us and tell us we were wrong, but now Daddy Paul seems to agree with us.
Yeah, Unky Paul says it. So
right. So that's another one where we were right and we could pat ourselves on the back. But anyway, it's funny that he says that, but then he just shoehorned 2 War Games matches onto this show, and the opposing team that faced the Bloodline was like a bunch of dudes. It was Kevin Owens and 4 dudes just to fill out the team. You know what I mean? Like the Brawling Brutes and Drew McIntyre, who really don't have anything to do with any of this because they didn't. Yeah. And then the women's match, it's like also like
Mia Yim just comes back a couple weeks ago and they just Mia Yim's in the match. There you go, Mia Yim.
Yeah, I mean, the men's match was worse from that standpoint because you had 4 guys in it who were just there to fill spots.
Butch has no reason to be. Why is Butch fighting with Jimmy Uso? There's no reason for Butch to be upset, Ridge Holland to be upset at Solo Sikoa. You know what I mean? There's no point whatsoever. No. I guess Drew has a little bit because he's obviously feuded with Reigns, and Sikoa cost him the title or cost him a title shot at the Clash at the Castle or whatever. So Drew and Kevin, I will say, have purposes on being there.
That's kind of over though, right? Like that's not even a thing anymore. Yeah, but yeah. So
Ridge Holland has no real beef here.
So this guy's going to do these War Games matches every Survivor Series now, and he just contradicts himself at the fucking presser and says that we need to have proper builds and do these matches that was a walking contradiction there. The other problem is, and someone made this point to me, I don't want to claim it as my own. It might have been Jesse Collins, but the problem is with the War Games and with the Elimination Chamber and with all these things is now we have to have 2 on every show because God forbid there isn't a woman's one, then the fucking world's going to cave in on itself. So
now we have not just 1 unnecessary War Games. Now we have 2 unnecessary.
Now
War
we have
Games.
to have 2. Yeah. Now we have to have 2 elimination changes. It's always so much overkill. You know what I mean? And it's like, that doesn't mean you necessarily just eliminate the women's version. You do whatever the hot program is. If you have a hot women's program that necessitates a Hell in a Cell, then you do a women's Hell in a Cell, and the men don't get one that year. Okay. Or if it's the other way around, sorry, the women don't get one that year. This idea that you have to do 2 of these things on every fucking show is so irritating because it just wears out these gimmicks so much faster. We did not need 2 War Games matches on this show. The Bloodline thing did not need to be a War Games. It just didn't. You're not even feuding with half the guys that are in the match. So from that standpoint, that drove me nuts. Plus these WWE War Games. First of all, I'm not a big fan of War Games matches to begin with.
And by the way, most War Games matches stink. We've talked about that. Yeah, go back and watch them. Right. We did a series at Voice of Wrestling. Yeah. We all went back and watched as many War Games as we could, and our conclusion was just like, yeah, most of these suck. Yeah, there's 3 good ones that everybody brings up. When you say War Games stinks, they go, oh no, what about 1992? And it's always the same 4 that everybody brings up every single time. Yeah. But then you're like, well, yeah, what about the 70% of the other ones that stink? And now the WWE ones really stink because now
these are fucking brutal. Yeah, they're terrible.
These are just punch kick, ladder, chair, table, chair, punch kick, and without any stakes. The old ones had the stakes of all right, it's the 4 horsemen versus and they've been feuding all year, and here we go, and they're going to get in the ring, and the crowd's going to just scream when this guy's. Now it's just Butch comes in and starts just punch kick to Jimmy Uso, and it's all right, what are we doing? Who cares?
These aren't even War Games matches. First of all, there's no roof. Second of all, you're allowed to pin people.
Pinfalls.
You're pinning people. Everyone has to bring their fucking WWE trademark branded weapons into the ring, whether it's the black WWE trademark chairs, the WWE kendo sticks, the WWE tables, the WWE ladders.
We had a WWE ladder that breaks in half. Yeah, the ladders that break in half. Bad
break in half WWE ladder. I don't know why they don't just slap logos on these fake weapons, and they just become plunder matches inside of a double cage. And how many more plunder pay-per-views can we have in a row?
Plunder, please.
I am so sick of kendo sticks and black chairs and ladders that break in half. It's the same shit on all of these fucking shows. Halloween Havoc, Extreme Rules, now the War Game show. I'm sure I'm missing one. It's too much. It's the same shit over and over. These matches fucking stunk. That women's War Games match.
I thought it was brutal.
Atrocious match.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and it's got a 7.21 on Cage Match, which is just no.
Okay,
no.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. Can we now just admit that site has been overrun because now people are finding examples of copy and pasted review notes?
Oh, good, cool.
So it's official. They're just they're bullshit fucking reviews. And bullshit scores. And hopefully they get bored because they're ruining a good thing. These people are ruining a good thing. All because Tony Khan on the scrums had to mention it. Why did Tony Khan have to mention Cage Match? Why? He ruined it. We
had a very good thing for a while. Yeah, that sucks.
We had a good thing going for a while. Now it's bullshit. And they're probably doing the opposite on shows that, they don't like. But anyway, The women's War Games match, terrible. Just plunder, weapons,
ladders, damage control, losing again. It's just the classic stuff.
There was at least 3 or 4 spots where they tried to do shit that was over their heads and they couldn't execute it properly. And then the announcers had to cover for them. When like Alexa Bliss went for the electric chair spot on Nikki Cross.
Oh, yeah.
And Nikki Cross completely missed the trash can, and Alexa Bliss took full force of the trash can. And poor Nikki Cross has to sell. And Alexa has, and then the announcers are like, they can't even cover for it. I think Alexa got the worst of that one. They don't even bother trying to cover for it because it's so bad.
Didn't quite get all that one.
Right. Becky Lynch does the senton off the cage and nearly misses everybody. Io
Sky does the great dive class that WWE teaches. Io Sky goes from the top, and both women just put their arms out so that Io Sky just goes crashing into the mat.
Yeah. And it's and every one of these matches, you get the spot where someone does the high cross body into everybody else. I think Nikki Cross did it this time. They've run out of shit to do because we've done so many of these matches. Rich, every time someone entered the match, Michael Cole was like, here's Butch. This is his 9th War Games match. He's got a lot of experience.
There's so many of them.
There's so many of these fucking matches. And these are not like, this isn't Tully Blanchard who's coming in the ring. It's Io Sky, and she's been in fucking 7 War Games matches. And I can't remember a single one of them because they're all the same. They all fucking stink. And, so they do their plunder. Then the last person comes in.
You mentioned that specifically, and I just wanted to make sure. She's been in 4, by the way, in case you're wondering. She has actually been in 4 War Games. November 2019, December 2020, December 2021, and now November 2022 for Io Sky. So,
Rich, I'm only exaggerating a little.
Yeah, no, she was in 4, legit 4 War Games. That's wild.
Cole says it every time someone comes in. It's crazy. You think these people were working Great American Bash tours in '86? They've been in so many War Games matches. It's crazy. And none of them are good or memorable. None of them are good or memorable. The only War Games match I remember is the one McAfee was in. It's the only one I remember.
That one. And then there was the first one that NXT did that I remember being kind of cool because Ricochet just did a bunch of cool shit inside of it. But
I don't remember any of these other ones.
The other ones, I know that like there's United Empire was always in them, or not United Empire. What the hell am I? Undisputed Era, or what the hell is the Adam Cole?
Undisputed Era.
Yeah. They were in a lot of them, and I don't remember anything else about the other ones. The other thing they also do too in all of them is the final person gets in, and everybody that was fighting now has all emptied out into one ring. So one team is in one ring, one team's in the other ring. The overhead shot shows all the teams in there. And then they go, and they all start charging at each other and fighting.
They do the stand
every time.
They do the Revolutionary War fucking lineup.
And then they look from their left, they look to their right, and all their brothers in arms are all with them, and they go, all right.
Right. Yeah.
They cut to that wide shot of the cage, and you see all the people.
Yeah. So, they always stink. Wasn't Cora Jade's star making performance in a War Games?
Oh, I think it was. I think you're right. Who could forget? Who could possibly forget? Yeah.
Well, we did.
Oh,
so that's, pretty easy. So yeah, I don't know. The women's match I didn't think was any good at all. The men's match was just a nothing match. I mean, I don't remember a single spot from that match. All you really remember from it is, the story they were telling with Sammy, Kevin Owens, and Roman.
Yeah, I'll remember none of the work. Like, I don't remember a single spot that happened.
You know who the best worker was in that match? Butch. He was fantastic in that match. Butch was all over the place. He started the match. He was taking all kinds of crazy bumps. He was kind of the glue that held the match together. And they did the deal where the heels had the baby faces had the advantage because they wanted to do, because again, this was just all about the dopey story that they're telling. So they wanted Roman to tell Sammy to go in the ring. They wanted Roman to come in last, right? So you had to give the baby faces the advantage, which screws up the psychology right off the bat. So, and then once Roman got in, they did the Sammy, Kevin Owens stuff. But here's the thing about that. Like, Sammy hasn't, Sammy hasn't been aligned with Kevin Owens in a long time, and he's aligned with why was it so shocking that he took Roman's
I was thinking
side?
the same thing too. I didn't know if I forgot something because they've tried to play it up like Owens and Sami Zayn are like longtime friends, and obviously yes they are, but they've also feuded with each other like several times, including I think most recently. It's not like Sammy just got done being in a tag team with Kevin Owens and then decided, I'm joining the Bloodline now. Like, I don't think so, right? Am I missing part of the timeline there?
No, that's why to me it wasn't like this great moment because that's.
It was it was Kevin Owens talking to his friend and saying, hey, look, friend to friend, like these guys don't really like you. They're going to turn on you or whatever.
Can we talk about that segment?
With an Uso peeking through the door, the door that's illuminated red, and an Uso is looking through, going.
This is why this shit is just too goofy for me.
Sucks.
and this is why everyone's saying this is so great. I just think this is so goofy, and it's never going to work for me. And that segment just makes my point better than anything I could say. You have Sami Zayn. You have Kevin Owens talking to Sami Zayn saying, hey, look, if I were you, I would turn on these dudes before they turn on me because they're going to turn on you. All the while, there's a random Uso. I think it was right-hand man Uso.
I believe
Jay.
It was, yeah. It's always Jay, but I like to say an Uso just because they may as well be one and the same.
Because you're never 100% sure.
I'm never totally sure, so I'm just going to say an Uso.
So this is typical WWE bullshit where they can never, ever, ever be subtle. And what's funny is people keep saying this story is subtle. What is subtle about any
Uso
of it?
Listening, and they show you listen. They can't just have it. They can't just have it cut to like an Uso like in the next room. Being like he's got to be peering through the door that's illuminated red.
Rich, the door is propped open. Kevin Owens is facing the propped open door. The Uso's head is in the door, and to show you how not subtle this is, not only is his head in the door, he's making these stupid faces as Kevin Owens is talking. Like, he's making these dumb cartoon faces. This is the opposite of subtle. And you have people who I respect, saying that this is great, subtle storytelling. None of this is subtle at all. It couldn't be less subtle. This is as subtle as a fucking sledgehammer. They didn't have him around the corner hiding behind a dumpster or in another corridor. He had the door propped open right in front of Kevin. Kevin Owens has to be the world's dumbest man or as blind as my dog Madeline to have not seen this door propped open. And the guy's making goofy faces. He's making goofy faces. What's subtle about it? He's like snarling and his lip is lifted like Elvis. And he's all angry because fucking Kevin Owens is talking to Sammy. Nothing about this story is subtle. And that scene just exemplifies exactly how I feel about all of this. It's a goofy WWE story and people are acting like this is high art. Wade Keller wrote this week that it is now, I'm paraphrasing, it is now time that we start to consider this to be the greatest storyline in the history of wrestling.
Excuse me?
Wade Keller.
Excuse me.
It's now time that we start to consider.
Who's been writing about professional wrestling since he was like 17.
Yeah, he said like in his Raw review, he said, this is the best storyline in wrestling. And it's now time that we start seriously considering that it's the best storyline in WWE history, in wrestling history, whatever way he phrased it. That's paraphrasing, but he wrote that. You got Dave Meltzer saying there's a great storyline. You have Brian Alvarez saying there's a great story. Like, everyone. Rich, we're on an island.
I know. I know. We are.
People are going to think that we are out of our fucking minds for not being like super into this. I don't it doesn't connect with me at all. I don't see what's so great about it. It's goofy. It's over the top. It's Looney Tunes.
They've also done it already. They've done it already multiple times for 2 years now. An Uso has been not part of the unit enough or not doing what he's supposed to do. And the other Uso is caught in between and Roman snarls and Paul Heyman's eyes open. And then eventually he just comes to the side and then they're all one. And then they did that. And then they did it again. And now they're just doing it again with Sami Zayn. Like, this is not that good of a story, right? Like we are on an island. We're nuts. But like, this has They've done this story with this crew. It's just never been done with Sammy. It's been done with Jay or whatever did it before. And then eventually...
Look, I'm not going to tell you it's terrible.
It's not terrible, but it's just not like, let's reel it in a little bit. Greatest story.
It's not this great, fucking amazing, compelling, legendary thing. Like,
it also doesn't have any layers to it. It's Sami Zayn wants to join the group. They don't trust him. He earns a spot. The end. Cool.
It kills me that they're calling this thing subtle. I see that word thrown around with this so much. It's cartoon. I'm waiting for an anvil to fall on Roman Reigns' head, and it wouldn't feel out of place at all. Like Paul Heyman is literally a fucking cartoon in this thing. So I mean, that's what this match was about. The match was not. There was nothing. This was 40 minutes to get to 2 minutes. And so it wasn't interesting. I mean, this was totally a phone scroll match where I kept catching myself scrolling my phone because I was bored out of my fucking mind. And I had to stop myself and be like, no, I have to pay attention because I have to talk about this. It's one of those matches where I have to rewind all the time. Because, I'm scrolling my fucking phone because it loses my attention. And then I have to put my phone, in another room because I'm like, I have to pay attention. And, then they get to the end and Sammy breaks up the pin. And then he does the hell of a kick to fucking Owens, and he takes Roman's side, and then he hugs it out with Jay.
A good story. It's good. I don't think it's bad. Again, I'm not telling you it's bad, but fine. Yeah, it's now we have to, overcompensate in our review of it because it's if all these other people, and I've seen it a lot of places, you're saying people I respect and people that I know have watched a lot of wrestling in their lives love this story, and I'm like, okay. All right, I don't get. I mean, it's good, it's fine, but
yes, I mean,
good lord.
Let me tell you something. Are you all geared up to see what happens Friday?
No, and nobody was on Monday either. It's not like the Raw rating was very people weren't
the
oh man.
SmackDown rating wasn't. The last SmackDown rating wasn't. The Raw rating wasn't good. I mean, so I don't even know if this is objectively hot. This story, I think clearly a lot of people really like it. I mean, there's no question about that. It's getting universal praise with the exception of this show.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody loves this fucking thing. Right. So obviously people really, really like it. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just completely indifferent on it. It doesn't do anything for me. It's there. Do you think let's try to diagnose this. Do you think it's just this company is so bad at telling stories that when there's finally one that's somewhat cohesive, that they just are latching on to this fucking thing it's because this is the one. They finally are telling one that's
everything. They latch onto everything.
The
bar is so low. We saw it when Triple H took over. The bar is so low. They do
latch onto everything, but I think when they latch on to other stuff, it's just
it's fleeting. It's like a 1 week thing.
It's not genuine.
Right.
This they really do think is good, so they're really overcompensating.
Well, yeah, because this is actually kind of good.
But that doesn't explain the pundits and the journalists and people like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why those. I don't know why Wade Keller, who's watched wrestling for close to 40 years at this point, maybe even. Well, shit. How old is Wade Keller? Sure, he's been watching his entire life. He's been writing about it since he was, in his teens.
I think he's in his 50s. Yeah, 40 years.
Yeah, for sure. He's been writing about it for 40 years, almost
Yeah, he's been paid to write about it for 40 because he's been doing this since a teenager.
Yeah,
now he's probably in his mid 50s, right?
So that's a bridge too far for me.
It's great. I can't believe it's stunning to me how over the top people are when it comes to this thing. It's a little too goofy for my taste. That's all. I mean, not for me. And I think that, and it might sound like a broken record, but this might finally be the proof that this company might never be for me again.
Yeah.
Because
I was there. I mentioned Hell in a Cell was what it was for me. Or actually WrestleMania, maybe even a little bit more. When Cody returned, I was like, hey, Cody's back. Cool. All right. And then I watched the match and everybody was like, oh, that was what a moment. You even liked it. You were like, that's a really cool moment. That was a really great match. I felt nothing. I felt zero. And I was like, man, this just might be it for me. And then I watched Hell in a Cell and everybody else is like, oh my God, what emotion. And I was just like, nah, nothing. And that's when I was like, you know what? It's just done. I'm just never, ever, ever going to get emotionally invested in this company ever again for anything. And yeah, maybe this for you is yet another example of it where it's just like, yeah, I don't know. All right, cool.
Yeah. The Cody Seth matches to me are the best matches in the company this year, right there with Gunther, Sheamus. I love that. But this stuff is like, all right, well, if I'm the outlier and I'm on fucking Lanza Island and this isn't, then maybe the way this company tells their stories and the way this company does what they do is just not, it's not for me anymore. I've just evolved beyond this company. And I know that, I don't know if that sounds obnoxious or arrogant. That's not the word either.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
But I feel like it's beneath me. Like I'm embarrassed. Like it's not something
it happens during the matches too, because a lot of people love like the kick somebody and go like, oh, is that all you got? Like, oh, you got any more? You got it. And like people love that. Like they love the in match promo that and now Kevin Owens is doing it too, and like everybody's doing, and he was doing it for years or whatever, but now he's doing it even more pronounced in this, being like, they don't love you, they're not your real friends, as he's like punching Sami Zayn in the corner. I'm like, I hate this so much. I hate it. Like I can't fathom. Like I'm in a world where I cannot fathom how you can be at home and be like, yeah, this is what wrestling is. Like we're just watching two different things, and we want two different things out of what we're watching here. Like if you were into En Uso kicking a guy while he's down and being like, yeah, you're not part of the family. Yeah, we're the bloodline. Yeah. And I'm like, if you love that, good for you. And Kevin Owens be like, they're not your friends. You know, I have your real thoughts in mind. Like, if you like that stuff, good for you. But we are watching completely different things.
You know, that started during the pandemic when they were thinking outside the box and trying different things when there were no fans.
Right. And that was interesting for a little bit. And we were ahead of the game on that.
Sucked. I thought it sucked right from the start. This community theater bullshit. And that's the other thing. Like these in-ring promos and the backstage stuff on SmackDown with the Bloodline, it's weird because while I think the performers are doing well based on what they're expected to do and how they're asked to do it, it's so corny. Like it's sub-community theater level garbage. The way that they perform in these segments, in these sketches, in these promos, it's just, you know. It's bordering on you don't want people to come in the room level stuff. You know, that's how corny it is. It's just corny. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Yeah, right?
I'm with you on that.
It's just corny. Like, so maybe this is just, all right, well, if you don't like this, then you're just not going to like what this company does. And I think it's pretty clear that I don't like this. I mean, I've been burying this company for years now. But this might be finally the example where it's like, okay, everyone else thinks this is great. So the problem now is you just aren't ever going to jive with the way this company does things. And, I see it as corny, derivative, written for children, enjoyed by 55-year-olds. That doesn't make sense to me. You know, it's got childlike depth. Like it's written so children can understand it. And then they give you long, overproduced video packages to re-explain all of this very easy to understand stuff to you, which is infuriating. I feel insulted when I watch WWE. It's like they treat me like I'm fucking stupid. You know, and for some reason people like that and want that. I don't. So I don't know. That, you know, the match was a nothing match. The story's fine, and they did a good job here. You know, the whole point was when Owens was talking to Sammy never said a word back to him. So when the wise man called him on the phone and he came in to talk to the tribal chief, he didn't lie to Roman when he said, hey, look, yeah, that happened. And this is what Kevin Owens said to me, but I'm loyal to you. And Sammy never lied because he never said anything to Kevin. So, and then he proved it in the match.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, they told their little story.
A good story. I think it's a good story. I just don't think it's one of the best wrestling stories ever told. I just don't.
It's this groundbreaking thing.
I can't go that far. I can say good story. Good story, but yeah.
Why aren't the ratings reflecting that then? If it's this, You know, is that not a fair question? Why aren't the ratings reflecting that if it's this great? And I don't want to hear about Peacock's internal memos and what WWE. No. Show me the fucking ratings. Show me something I can see.
More people watching your television show because of a story. If it's truly the greatest wrestling story ever, like I always go to Hogan Savage as the greatest wrestling story ever told, because guess what? It was a really good story and they made a fucking shit ton of money. They were selling places out fucking everywhere. They were running multiple house show loops. They had fucking crazy numbers for WrestleMania, crazy numbers for Saturday Night's Main Events. They were making a fuck ton of money when that great story was being told.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about 23% more people watch this Survivor Series than last year's on Peak. Okay, so more people watch this one than the last last year's Survivor Series was the worst show of the year. So I hope more people were into this one because this show wasn't that bad. This show was fine. I didn't even think the show was bad. This was a perfectly competent, average pro wrestling show is what this was. That I would have never watched if not for this podcast. But,
God, no.
but that's what it was to me. You know, and it was better built and a better show than last year's debacle. There's no question about that. Anything else in the main event, or do you want to talk about?
I got nothing else on that.
Two War Games matches. There's the only thing now is coming out of it. What I find interesting, this is so interesting to me, is that the hardcore WWE fan, the people who are really into this story, almost universally across the board, do not want Sami Zayn to beat Roman Reigns. They do not think Sami Zayn should be the guy to beat Roman Reigns, which I find interesting because then what the fuck is the point of any of this?
What are we doing here? Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah. So Sami Zayn has now done all this mega story has led to Sami Zayn becoming one of 5 guys in a unit.
Yeah. And I guess the idea is eventually he'll end up with Owens and they'll beat the Usos. Right? Oh, that's kind of the idea.
Cool.
But it's like, but here's the thing. Why wouldn't he choose his new friends over Kevin Owens when Kevin Owens has turned on him more than Naruki Doi has turned on Masato Yoshino?
Right.
Like at this point, Sami Zayn is Masato Yoshino. He's
right. Well, Kevin Owens being like, hey, they're not your real friend. They're going to turn on you. It's like, motherfucker, you've powerbombed me into the apron like 12 times in our career. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, you've turned on me twice since you started this promo. Like, right. Who are you? You know, so it's like, they'll get back together. Like, but isn't that kind of like a letdown and a downgrade?
I would say, yeah. I would say if all this isn't leading to, if this is truly the great story that's being told, it leads to that guy, you know, becoming a superstar. And they don't, you know, that the company doesn't want that anyway. Like they're not ready for that. They don't want Sami Zayn beating Roman Reigns.
This is 1,000,000% accidental, and they did not want.
Of course they don't. And this is what they want: is Sami. They want you to say, "All right. We did the Sami story. He's one of 5. He's in the Bloodline now. So now it's funny, and now they're going to keep corpsing, and they're going to keep doing their little backstage skits, and Sherry O'Terry is going to laugh in the background while it's happening or whatever. And like, you know what I mean? Like that's what they're going for. But that's it. Like that, we've now reached the apex. Like all it's going to be is Sami Zayn doing funny things, being like, "What up, Oos?" and everybody being like, you know what I mean? And then
I think they're still going to tease the Owens thing, and I think it's Sami Zayn forced their hand through sheer talent. I mean, that's what this is. Yeah. This was not the story.
He's reinvented his career because that was a guy we were on record, and everybody was pretty much on record saying that guy was washed like a year ago. Like this guy's done. Yeah, and he is physically washed, but he's so talented.
This is through sheer force of talent that he has forced this push, the biggest of his career. And they didn't want this. They don't want it. So, but it seems to me, because the story too is really Sami and Jey Uso's relationship. So from that standpoint, it would make sense that Sami beats Jey Uso for his title as opposed to beating Roman for his. But then, it's just surprising to me that the hardcore WWE fan doesn't want the direction to be Sami beating Roman. That's surprising.
And that's, again, one of the other big issues with the whole Roman thing that I bring up every time somebody tells me how great this Roman stuff, how great. Okay. But you have there is no end in sight for this Roman thing.
No plan,
no end in sight. No guy. There's not one guy on that roster right now that I could tell you, Joe, at this year's WrestleMania or next year's WrestleMania, that guy is going to beat Roman Reigns for the title. And they've put themselves in a position where even the hardcore fans, even hardcore WWE fans, cannot name a person on that roster that they think is worthy enough of beating Roman Reigns, or is ever going to be worthy enough of beating. Because if it's not Sammy right now, who's done all this build up and is a great star, and he's the main protagonist and what's the greatest story in wrestling history or whatever. If that guy's not even in the universe where you're like, oh, no way, get out of here, there's no way, then who is it? It's The Rock. The list is The Rock, right? And then who cares? I mean, it's great. The Rock comes in at WrestleMania, hits the rock bottom and pins Roman. And then what the hell did we just do for the last 2 years?
Well, that'd be really dumb. That'd be really stupid. I mean, Roman has to beat The Rock.
Okay, and then The Rock comes in and Roman beats him. Okay, now. And I hate to do the what's next thing because we always rant about that, but this guy's been on top for 3 years now. And
hold on. This is why this is different though, because all these people keep saying, man, this has been so good that whoever beats Roman is going to get the rub of a lifetime. Okay, well, who are they preparing for that rub?
Right. Who right now? Let's look at this year's WrestleMania. There is not one person
remotely ready
to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and give him an honest, earnest chance at defeating him. Not a soul.
Which is the thing. The only match that they've really built is Sammy, and that's the match these people don't seem to.
And they're like, oh, there's no way. Yeah, they can't fathom of it, and I think that speaks to a much bigger issue with all this stuff. Cody is one that people bring up, but I don't think they're not ready for that with Cody.
I mean, that got derailed when he got hurt. I'm sure he'll be back at Rumble or around Rumble, and they could heat that up. But now you're talking about a 10 to 12 week build to get that hot. And Cody's 36 years old. You know what I mean? On a 3-year contract or whatever. That, what kind of, and he's already a star. So that, where's this mega rub that someone did? That's not a scenario where someone's getting a mega rub. The idea, they keep telling us that someone's going to be a made guy when they beat Roman. Who are they preparing for this? You don't see anything percolating on the undercard either. They're not getting anyone ready. There's not even anyone in the early stages of that.
No.
And so if you cannot tell me, if you're going to tell me, oh, well, when Roman finally okay, well then what do you think the plan is? What's the plan? Who is it? And don't give me 36-year-old Cody. Don't give me pushing 40 Sami Zayn, who's physically washed and is a goofball character. And that's the only person who? Braun Breaker's not even on the main roster yet. He's had less than 100 matches in his life. Who? Fucking Madcap Moss? I mean, his name is still Madcap Moss. Can we start there with him? Maybe? Who? Dominic? The least talented person that's ever worked for the company, who, by the way, now they're trying to convince us that Dominic's good, Rich.
Dominic's actually good. Yeah,
I'm never being convinced of that. He fucking stinks. Don't try that shit. That goofy thing at Rey Mysterio's house. People are putting that over. Maybe we're the crazy ones.
Yeah, we're the crazy ones. Well, that's fine. That's fine. I'll be I'm more than happy to be this crazy in this scenario. That's fine.
I mean, Ray's son throwing those weak kicks. He's down in the foyer.
The kicks in the foyer. Yeah.
Yeah. It's dumb. It's all Vince's
I just like
bullshit.
Wrestling, Joe. I just like guys wrestling each other. I like a bell ringing and two men being in the ring and one man proving that he's better than the other man while in a wrestling match. You know what I mean? I like that stuff. And you got to defend that these days. You got to defend that. You got to. It's a tough stance to say. You know what? I just like when people wrestle, and that's it's a tough stance to take these days because you have to defend that. And yeah, it's just that's. I mean, you can Dominic throwing a turkey around, but I don't know. I kind of like guys wrestling. It's weird.
Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Plus, when you sign up today with promo code OhioSB, you'll be all set for when FanDuel goes live in Ohio. Then you can bet on all your favorite teams and all your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Ohio, this is your chance to get in on the action. Join today with promo code OhioSB. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Ohio. Bonus issued in non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Ohio on 1/1/23. Unique user identity verification required. Offer ends on the go-live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Peloton's best offer of the season is here. Get up to $300 off accessories when you purchase a Peloton bike, Bike Plus, or Tread. Choose from a variety of accessories like our cycling shoes, a heart rate monitor, non-slip grip dumbbells, and more. If you've been looking for a sign to join Peloton, this offer gives you everything you need to get going. This limited time offer ends November 28th. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more. All access membership separate. Offer starts November 14th and ends November 28th. Cannot be combined with other offers. See additional terms at onepeloton.com.
You know what feels colder than fucking ice at this point? Bray Wyatt. The fuck is that guy doing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. How's Uncle Howdy doing? Or is he Uncle Howdy? No, Uncle Howdy's a different person, right?
Have they botched the shit out of that or what? Like, that was really...
They
that
had
was
nothing. Dude, it's fucking Paul, man. All this Paul stuff. All he does is have a guy come out that nobody that cares that much about. Then he got lucky and he found one guy that people do care about. And people in droves started watching the television and buying the pay-per-views and watching it on Peacock or whatever. So he got him, and then he had no fucking idea what to do with him once he had him. And that's where we're at now. We're 5 weeks in.
Oh, Bray's a creative genius.
Oh, right,
I was told that Bray's a genius. And they hired a director of lore. Okay, so Bray and this director of lore. Yeah, what are they doing? Bray never does anything. Like, but, and this is great. Like, they're turning on it too. Like, did you see the Bray promo where he goes, "I don't want to be the Fiend anymore"?
And people booed. They want the Fiend. Yeah, they booed.
Of course they want the fucking Fiend. What the hell would other bills be?
Right, there's a bunch of Joker De Silvas. You got 20,000 Joker De Silvas out there. Like,
yeah, otherwise he's a dirty swamp wizard with stinky looking hair. There's no other appeal to this guy. Of course you want him to be the Fiend. What else would be the point? You know that hair smells like patchouli and weed.
For sure.
You know? This guy thinks he's not getting away from that. He has to be the Fiend. He's got to do his little magic tricks. Because you don't have nothing else, buddy. You're not talented otherwise. So, and that feels ice cold. Isn't he feuding with LA Knight? Wasn't that what they were setting up?
Yes, he is. With the former Eli Drake.
Yeah.
It's Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt versus
no wonder Raw's on fire.
Eli Drake, yeah.
Yeah. No wonder Raw's raking him in. I don't know. Yeah. So the rest of this fucking show, Ronda Rousey and Shotzi Blackheart had a worst match in a year.
So bad. First off, it starts out with Shotzi in her little tank, and they, she points to the sky, and Michael Cole says, I think it was Michael Cole, right? I forget who was doing the commentary for this one.
Cares?
Says, Shotzi does that in a memoriam of her late father who passed away this time last year. It's like, all right. That's a lot of momentum to go into the match. And then she just fucking gets tapped out. 7 minutes, just gets her ass beat.
Didn't they do that with Natty too?
Yeah.
She wore her father's fucking leather
the ring jacket, then lost.
Yeah, and then they ripped up a cardboard cutout of the anvil too.
Yeah.
But you know what? Wrestling families are weird, and I don't think that stuff bothers because they just see it all.
No. Yeah, they don't. They just see that as whatever.
Like they don't give a shit.
Well, I just find it hilarious because remember the outrage. Like there's still people outraged that Shawn Michaels wanted to win the European title over British Bulldog. At whatever that fucking, what was the show? Insurrection or whatever the hell the show was. And, or no,
whatever it was, they had red foam boots on the ramp, I bet.
Right? No, it was like one night only or whatever.
Yeah.
And remember, it was like British Bulldog was going to win the European title or retain the European title. He dedicated the match to his dead sister or whatever. Yeah. And then old 1997 Michael Hickenbottom was just like, I ain't losing that shit. Like, day of, he's saying, I'm not losing it. So, of course, they had to have him win. And people were like upset. It's still to this day, Shawn Michaels. And now they're just like, Shotzi dedicating this match to her late father. And she just gets tapped out in 7 minutes. And it's like, well, nevertheless.
Save the dedication for when they're going to win.
Right.
I mean, it
just seems difficult. It's like, wow, that's a very touching moment for Shotzi and her late father. And now she just tapped out. Okay, well.
No, this company fucking stinks.
Bad.
How does every review come back?
Brian Kendrick into agent the match.
Every review we do comes back to this company fucking stinks.
Oh, God.
It just fucking stinks.
Rousey. They've turned Ronda Rousey into like she's not only a nothing anymore. She's like, go away here. You're like, go away. Just I don't never want to see you again. Go away and never come back.
So Seth freaking Rollins, Bobby Lashley.
Sing his song.
And Theory. I don't know if
he's Austin again. He's Austin.
I think they took it away though to like.
Oh, did they? He's Mr. Serious now though.
So they have
the now, isn't he now?
So they have this
now. That's what I call music volume 20.
So they have this 3-way for the U.S. title. And what'd you think of the match? Don't give me a long answer. Did you think it was good, average, bad? Like, what'd you think of the match? You could throw a star rating.
Average as hell.
Okay.
Average as hell.
Would you believe if I told you?
Oh no.
That David Schumacher of the Masked Man show.
The Masked Man, yeah. The Masked Man.
And I'm paraphrasing here. He said that this 3-way match between these three men that you just called average was a hair away from being the greatest triple threat match in the history of wrestling. Would you believe me if I told you he said that?
Wait, please say that again.
He said...
Maybe he said.
It was like a smidge away from being either the greatest or one of the greatest triple threat matches in he either said company history or wrestling history, but either way I'd say equally preposterous.
No, he didn't. Did he really?
He did. Yes, he did. What? Yes, he did. This match. What the fuck are these people
shocked.
watching?
I'm in a stunned silence.
What the fuck are these people watching?
I don't know.
Rich, you could drive to the closest indie show to your home this Saturday, and I can almost guarantee that there will be a 3-way match on that show just about as good as this one on this Survivor Series. If it's any kind of indie show worth its salt, using halfway competent workers, as long as you're not going to a shindy. Okay.
Right.
Rich, I just don't understand what these people are watching anymore. I don't get it. Do you have the cage? What cage match give this?
I'm loading that up right now just to see if he was off.
Maybe he's just completely out of his fucking mind because one
of the greatest 3-way matches ever.
8.33. What the fuck?
I don't know anymore, man.
I don't know. I just throw my hands up. Okay, so the match starts. Lashley clotheslines Theory over the top rope like a geek, because that's the story. He's a geek. He gets back in the ring. Rollins clotheslines him over the top rope because he's a geek. And Rollins and Lashley want to go at it, right? Then the finish is a fluke finish where Theory is a geek and he gets beat up. But he lands on top of someone else who's already down, and he wins the title in a flukish manner. And I shit you not, we go back to our pals at the Ringer, Rich. The narrative over on the Ringer podcasts is that they've really turned around this Theory, and they're getting behind him. And he's still a geek. He won on a fluke.
Yeah, he won because other people beat the guys up.
He got punked out the whole match.
I don't know. I don't know anymore. We're watching different things. I don't.
Comedy spots. They were fucking comedy spots. Him getting knocked over the rope like he doesn't belong in the match. The whole story of the match is he isn't as good as these guys. That's a push. Do people not know what a push? A push is where you're supposed to look good.
Right? You're supposed to win on your own merits. A couple times, in a row. Now okay. Just in WWE, I'm thinking off the top of my head, like Brock, Seth, and Cena was like not that long ago, right? That was in our lifetime, right?
That shouldn't.
That was at like the Royal Rumble or whatever, right? And that was good.
2 years ago or something.
Really, really good.
Whatever the fuck.
2016, 20, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
ECW has had how many matches?
I can genuinely, I can tell you right now.
And I hate 3-way matches, by the way.
I hate them. This 3-way match, I think I have, without question, seen at least 100 3-way matches better than this.
If we had time, I would want you to name them all, but we won't do that.
I mean,
the main event of the first Barely Legal, right? That was Terry Funk, Sandman, and shit, I forget. Richards, maybe?
No. You don't even have to dig.
Just do WWE's.
Just do indie shows.
Right. Do every WrestleMania weekend has 4 3-way matches.
Minimum.
Every night that are better than this
as
one.
good as this one.
Yes.
Minimum.
I forgot. I'm looking at it. Remember Wrestle Kingdom 7, Prince Devitt, Kota Ibushi, and Loki?
Yeah.
Loki with his Agent 47. Good up. Yeah. Pretty good.
How about fucking the TNA? How about Joe Daniels and Styles?
Right. Pretty good. Have
you seen that one, Schumacher?
Yeah.
Have you seen that one? Yeah. Legendary match.
Pretty good. There was a
women's.
We
start there, maybe.
There was a women's triple threat. Wasn't there a couple years ago at WrestleMania? Charlotte, Sasha, Becky.
How about just name a 3-way, and it's probably as good as this one was. How about just name it? Yeah. Any.
I want the Masked Man. I would need somebody to ask the Masked Man. Have you seen Unbreakable 2005 or whatever? The Daniels Styles Joe. Have you seen that? If you could answer that and say, I've seen it and I do still prefer this match, then okay. But
Orange Cassidy, Luchasaurus, and Phoenix had a 3-way on Dynamite the week before that was better than this match. I mean, just name a 3-way.
Benoit, Michaels, Hunter at Mania. That's pretty good.
Which one?
The one where Chris Benoit, WrestleMania 20.
Oh, Benoit, yeah.
Benoit, Michaels, Hunter. Yeah, it's good. Good little match.
Yeah. OJ ran for those yards, man. Listen. Preposterous. We had AJ Styles versus Finn Balor.
I like this match. This is good.
I thought it was the best match on the show.
Yes, I'm with you too. So, and again, like just to prove that we're on a different island from everywhere else on the universe, on Cage Match, which we've now declared is
bullshit.
It's completely void of context and meaning. But the main event War Games 8.36, the triple threat, which was one of the greatest triple threat matches of all time, 8.33. This match 7.24, which I thought blew away all the other matches, which just proves that we're watching a different thing. We're just watching a different thing.
But that's a fair rating for this match.
That's a good match. Yeah, that's a good rating.
That's about what I do. On a 10-point scale, that's about what I'd give this match.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I thought it was like a 3.5-star match. Well worked. What's the Meltzer line? 2 professionals.
2 professional wrestlers having a good professional wrestling match. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like it's not totally
good. The bell rang and they just worked for 18 minutes and they're 2 good workers and they just worked.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Michael Cole revisionist history about the Bullet Club, but that's fine. I'm not going to get into all that sort of stuff. But
hold on a second. He was flying to Japan and going to those shows in Osaka. He was right on top of it. I don't know what you're talking about. Michael Cole knows everything about the Bullet Club.
But the club, the club. He didn't call him the Bullet Club. He called him the club. Yeah. He doesn't want to use
these 2 men battled for the leadership spot. No.
Did they? That's what I was going to say. Did they? They used to stand side by side and declare one of them, nobody's the leader. We're all leader. Did they? I don't.
Yeah.
No.
So Devitt's final match was the same night that AJ showed up as a surprise, an invasion attack.
Yes.
They were ships passing in the night. They were never in the Bullet Club at the same time.
I hate to rain on historian Michael Cole's parade here, but yeah, they did not. They did not.
Yeah, Michael Cole's story time, and again, that's something that's getting massive praise. Who was it? The Ringer. I don't know if this was the Ringer, but somebody was saying. Oh, no, I think it was. I think it was Dopey Pete. Dopey Pete on the Cheap Heat show was saying that. Michael Cole provides a masterclass history lessons in providing background for these stories.
Oh, they're just not correct, but yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah. And he says that's the difference between WWE and AEW. AEW doesn't explain anything.
Oh my God. Can you imagine if Excalibur went to 1/8 of the detail of this, how much these dorks would be hand-wringing? Nobody cares about the Bullet Club.
Well,
Rich, who cares?
Rich, I don't have to imagine that happens. That's reality. Like, that's real. All Excalibur does is give off dork facts, and people complain about it. It's just,
whatever.
And Dopey Pete's a paid employee, so you can't really, you know what I mean? But, I have more ringer news.
Great.
With the absence of MacMania.
Just what I wanted. Yes. Go.
Rest in peace. Cheap Heat's going 2 times a week, baby. Filling that hole. So you can expect more breakdowns from yours truly right here in this space from a double dose. It's funny. Dopey Pete now is going to have 2 podcasts and yet not watch hardly any wrestling. So,
well, he's not going to have time. He's doing too many podcasts.
Yeah. Well, if Stat Guy Greg ever had a falling out with that dude, what would he do? He'd just find someone else to come on and do all the work, right?
God, are we done with Survivor Series?
I think so. We talked about every match, didn't we?
Good. Great. Let's leave and never remember Survivor Series ever again. That was Survivor Series War Games.
It's fine. Show was fine.
A perfectly okay
I didn't even hate the show.
I didn't hate it either. I didn't hate it.
It's fine. Yeah. Very average show. A solid 5, 1 to 10.
Yes, a 5, and I will never, ever, ever, ever think about it ever again.
You will think about that hug on your deathbed. You will think
Sammy acknowledging and then putting all their fingers in the air.
You will acknowledge that hug and think about that hug in your dying days. You'll be holding the nurse's hand. She's going to give you the grim news because she is a nurse and she's not going to sugarcoat it. She'll be like, look, you're done for. Okay, you're finished.
Yeah, she's going to look at the chart and go, ooh.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, this is not,
she's talking to the doctor, really? And the
Right.
doctor's going to go, yeah. And she's going to go, oh, shit. All right.
And you're going to look up to her with a tear in your eye, Stone Cold Rich Kraetsch, who does not cry. You're going to cry. And you're going to say, you know what? I live to see Sammy hug Jey Uso. And that I could
acknowledge and finally be acknowledged as not an honorary Uso, but a
with
real
the last bit of strength in your gout riddled body. You're going because you're going to die of gout. Yeah, that's what you're dying of.
Huh.
So you're gonna lift your arm and you're gonna point. You're gonna acknowledge. You're gonna point to the sky, Rich.
Acknowledge my tribal chief.
You're gonna acknowledge the tribal chief, and that's how it's gonna end.
He's probably still fucking gonna be the champion too. Right?
More than likely.
There's a solid enough chance that he might be still the champion. So
yeah. They're still going to be building up someone for the rub.
Someone's coming, guys. I promise. Somebody is coming. Yeah.
Someone's going to get that rub. D-Clan McMahon is going to be in there. D-Clan, what's his name?
Declan.
The Indiana football player.
Oh, yeah. Is he also ostracized because Shane's ostracized? I hope so. Probably.
Yeah. What do you think? Because
their father and his coke-fueled manic.
I don't think Vince would take that out on the grandchildren.
No.
Right? If there's,
it depends. If Declan's pretty big too, he can easily replace. I mean, if he's playing football, he's got to be a pretty big dude, right?
D-Clan McMahon, I think he's got a future. He's a football player, so he's a Division I football player.
Yeah, he's got to have some girth to him. So
he's playing in Indiana, right?
Yeah.
He's a Big Ten scholarship football player. He's obviously a decent athlete. Okay. So D-Clan McMahon might be who they're building. And that might be the one to knock off Roman. Maybe that's what they're waiting for.
I like it.
Does he have Bama bangs? I feel like he would. Even though
I can't. Well, let's see. Declan.
He's 20 years out of style, but I feel like he would have Bama
no,
bangs.
but see, like so but like the mullets are in. Oh, he's got a mullet. Yeah, he's got like a mullet.
Mullets are in?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay, I wasn't aware that mullets were.
Yeah,
back.
he's got like there's a certain type of mullet that he has. You'll see it if you look up Declan McMahon.
So is he a meathead or?
Just judging by his Indiana picture, he doesn't look like a meathead.
Okay.
He kind of looks like a dork. Not in a good. I mean, like, you know what I mean.
Is he a preppy football player?
He kind of looks a little bit more of the preppy football player than the.
Oh, they're like the curly mullet.
The curly mullets, yeah.
Like the flowy locks mullet, with the fucking long in the back.
You see what I mean? He doesn't look like he's not like a jock, but.
No, he don't strike me as a meathead.
No, he's not a meathead jock.
He's half the size of Shane.
Yeah, that's.
How'd this kid get a fucking? Are we sure he's playing it for the Indiana Hoosiers?
There's a picture of him wearing. Maybe they thought they were going to get free Peacock or something like that. So I don't know. Or Marissa called in a favor.
What position does he play? I have to know now. Hold on. Is he in the Sports Reference database? Did he play this year?
I don't know.
D-Clan McMahon. Sports Reference. Let's see.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's got a profile. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
so he's a running back, but it doesn't look like he played.
Okay. Red shirt year. Yeah.
No stats for D-Clan McMahon. So he's waiting to get on the stat sheet. But are we sure he's scholarship?
Yeah, I guess that's now a good question is he scholarshiped or is he just one of those unfortunate non-scholarshiped football players? I'll just take some hits for
walk on.
Maybe you'll give me a scholarship. Probably not. Yeah, I don't know.
Rudy Rudiger.
Yeah, right. Good for Declan. So.
D-Clan.
Aurora. Maybe Aurora Rose is going to be the one to break gender norms and beat the tribal chief. So,
there's dozens of people on Twitter who would enjoy that. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't look like he plays. Oh well, there's a Rogan McMahon.
A Rogan McMahon. Is that also a Shane spawn?
Looks like it. Yeah.
Okay, Rogan and Declan. Oh, boy.
Kenyon, Rogan, Declan, D-Clan, and Christopher. Wow, he drew the long straw, huh?
Christopher. They're like, what do you want to name this one? It's Chris. Whatever. Who cares? Yeah.
He'll be wiping that brow at some point. Like, ooh, I got away with that one. I could have been D-Clan.
Declan, Rogan. What was the other one?
Kenyon.
Like
what you would call someone from Kenya. Kenyon.
Oh, it's not like Kenyon Martin. It's like
no.
Keyan.
Kenyan. Kenyon. Like he's a Kenyan.
Oh, that
like
right. Yeah. Wow.
Like he's from Kenya.
Ah.
And then Rogan and D-Clan. And then Chris.
And then Chris. Marissa was like, all right, enough of these dumb names. We need to have one kid that Chris.
Yeah.
Poor Chris. All right, not poor Chris.
No.
Chris. Yeah.
Chris got
Chris, that timeless name. Chris will be in 40 years, you can still be called Chris and nobody's gonna laugh at you. So all right.
Yeah.
Suit Williams says Rudy was offsides. He was. Rudy was fucking offsides. A cheater. Wasn't the real life Rudy a fucking asshole and everybody hated him?
He's been in jail.
He was also like just a little shit, and everybody just fucking thought he was annoying, right? If I remember correctly, I love Rudy was offside.
Well, I mean, that wasn't all that different from the movie, to be completely honest.
Yeah, he was kind of a little shithead in the movie, wasn't he?
He's a little shithead. Yeah, he's showing up all the other walk-ons. Remember his one buddy, the other walk-on, was like, "Hey man, you're showing us, you're making the rest of us look bad. Like, you want to get your ass kicked at practice every day. That's great, but now they expect all of us.
Right. Now we all gotta,
they kind of got that across in the movie, I thought, And then he was getting the varsity, like the scholarship guys in trouble because they were going easy on him because they didn't want him to die. And then the coaches were getting mad at those guys. And so I think they
really threw the whole culture. Yeah, he threw the whole culture for a loop.
And Joe Montana, who was on that team, he always says, like, look, man, half of us didn't even know who he was. Like, it wasn't this thing where it's like,
yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, like it wasn't this thing like they're slapping the jerseys on the desk. Like, that never happened. It's a good scene in the movie.
Oh, of course. It's all a movie. But yeah, the idea that like.
But Joe Montana is always like, look, half of us didn't know who this guy was.
Joe Montana's on another field just tossing beautiful, passes all over the place. And Rudy's out there, jumping in the dirt and rolling around to try to earn a spot.
Defensive end. Yeah, scout team defensive end. So it's like, it wasn't, and the crowd didn't chant his name and all that shit. So, but, so yeah, I think he was considered like a little fucking shithead. They probably just stuck him in the game to shut him up. He's probably one of those guys. I know when I played football, there was always like one bench guy who was like attached to the coach's hip, and like just because he's like begging to get in the game in the coach's ear, and like that was probably Rudy. Like he just who was it? It wasn't Ara Parsegan, right? Like didn't Ara Parsegan?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
His coach at Notre Dame, Dan Devine. Dan Devine took over because Ara Parsegan promised he was going to play him, and then Parsegan left, and Dan Devine took over as head coach, and he didn't have a deal with Rudy, so that was the drama in the movie. Oh, is the new coach?
Oh, right. Okay, I don't know. I didn't know if that was actually real or part of the movie. So.
No, it was. Dan Devine took over that year. Yeah. Ara Parsegan, of course, legendary Notre Dame head coach. He promises he's going to play Rudy. He leaves because Dan Devine, the real life Dan Devine, was like, they made me a dick in this movie. Like, I told the kid I'll just put him in. Like, but they needed a heel, and I didn't appreciate that. Like, if you Google that, he's like annoyed that everyone thinks that he's an asshole. I think he's dead now. But yeah, so there was a lot of creative liberties taken with Rudy. We done with Survivor Series?
I think we are done with Survivor Series. So we will move on to some other topics here. Real quick, William Regal, latest on him. Ever-changing, evolving story. Nobody really seems to know exactly what's going on. I just wanted to get this in here real quick. So after last week's Angle on Dynamite, obviously the Thanksgiving Dynamite, some speculated maybe a write-off for Regal. It seemed kind of weird. Moxley saying, hey, keep walking and I don't want to see you ever again. Regal did come back, obviously, this week on Dynamite. Triple H did tweet a video of William Regal screaming War Games on Saturday. So that kind of made people say, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Maybe there's something a little bit here. And then this week on Dynamite, MJF obviously turned on Regal, sent him out on a stretcher. Fightful Select, they had a note today that said talent believes that that Regal's AEW deal could be up in December this year. Mike Johnson, PW Insider, had another report that seemed to indicate pretty heavily that Regal is WWE bound. He said, quote, all signs are that William Regal will be World Wrestling Entertainment bound shortly, although we have heard nothing official from the company. There have been rumblings within WWE of late about Regal returning in a backstage role. That would mean Regal would be exiting AEW, where it certainly appeared that he was ridden out of storylines last night, having been attacked by champion MJF. And Dave Meltzer said everybody's going to think Regal's leaving, and he might be. There's stuff I can't say, but it's like whatever. The 3-year contract is, there's something up here. It's certainly a possibility that he's going back. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought the thing at Dynamite Thanksgiving week was a write-off. And I saw a lot of people be like, no, that fits the story. There was a tone to it, and there was just a thing. Maybe it was being there live. Maybe it came across different on TV. But being there live, I don't know. It to me, immediately that I was like, this guy's gone. This guy's going back to WWE. I don't know why. I just had a feeling about it. And I was kind of surprised that more people didn't have that feeling during the Moxley stuff, but now it seems everybody has that feeling after this MJF stuff.
I think that, okay, first of all, I don't know anything. I presume you don't know anything. Really, nobody knows anything because, like Dave said, he was told something off the record, which totally lines up with sometimes how, Tony Khan will communicate. And, he's told me things and said, all right, well, this is off the record. So I totally get that Dave probably knows what's going on. But just, he cannot say. So I don't know anything. My feeling on it is that what it feels like to me is Regal is probably under contract or was under contract for much longer than, because he only showed up in March or something.
Yeah, March or April. I forget. Yeah, it has not been
less than a year. So, but now that Triple H is back and his son is there and everything, he probably, my feeling is he may have had a discussion with Tony Khan and said, look, I'd rather be there for a variety of reasons. Can we work something out? And Khan is in a position where he can't be letting people out of contracts right now. If I were Tony Khan, I wouldn't let anybody out of a contract. And he hasn't, unless it was some weird extenuating circumstance that had nothing to do with wrestling or something. But I wouldn't you're in the middle of a wrestling war. It's a bad look. You can't let people out of contracts because then it opens the floodgates. You set a precedent. So it seems possible to me that maybe they're trying to work out a deal where he'll let him out early, whether it was a 1-year contract and then Meltzer said it was a 3-year contract, however long the contract really is. And maybe Mike Johnson's obviously been tipped off to December as a potential date of him exiting. Maybe it's a situation where Khan is trying to work something out where, okay, I'll let you out of this deal, but you can't appear on TV for the duration of the original contract. Because that's a bad look. Now, if you want to go take an office job and not appear on TV and cut some promo, that's, that's probably what they'd look to avoid while, trying to make the guy, happy and let him go do his deal. And, but that, again, that's 100% speculation on my part.
Right. I don't know anything either. I didn't respond when you said, do you know anything? And yeah, I meant to say, no, I don't know. We don't know anything. Yeah. I don't know when his contract's up. I don't know if he's going. I don't know if he's staying. I have no idea about that. But just speculating by how things have, like when that promo happened on last week's Dynamite, my antennas went up immediately, and then Dave was really weird about it on the following days, Wrestling Observer Radio being like, yeah, it wasn't a runoff, but maybe it was, or, he was kind of hemming and hawing about it. And then little by little things started kind of popping up a little bit more. This weekend, you get the Triple H video. And then now this week, the write-off. And now it seems like everybody is starting to say, yeah, something is up here. Something is going on. And I'm with you. I think that there's probably, and again, pure speculation. I have no idea what conversations were had. I have no idea what's going on, but I would guess similar to what you said, that Regal probably came into the office and said, hey, look, I want to go back there. What can I do, or what can we do to accommodate that? Like, and I see people say, like, you're in a wrestling war, tell him to go fuck himself. But there's a time and a place to do that. And there's a reason to do that. But like, I think if this guy is truly going to be unhappy and you're not going to get any benefit from him, if you can get him to, like you said, agree to, hey, okay, you know what? If you want to go back there, I don't want to keep you from going back there, but we have a contract and you can't appear on their television. You can work backstage, you can do whatever the hell you want, but you can't be on their television because I signed you to a contract and I'm letting you out of this contract. But with somewhat of a no, whether it be a no complete or whatever you would do in a no compete, whatever you would do in that contract, you can't just let this guy waltz onto NXT television, in 2 days. Like that you can't do that, because that looks like that's a bad look. Because then you also have then the other guys like, Aleister Black and those guys that are like, well, what the fuck? Like, I tried to get out. You told me I couldn't leave. Like, why you let that guy leave? So you have to do something, right? You have to honor. You need to make sure that Regal honors some aspect of your contract in some way. There's also, again, I've seen a lot of people say, well, just tell him to go fuck himself. Too bad. Do you really want this guy hanging around if he doesn't want to be there and he's got friends in the other company? I don't mean that, like, I don't know that Regal would be a stooge. I'm not saying that, but like, I don't know. Is that something you really want to prove a point? Have that guy hang around and be miserable and suck?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little different because he's not a wrestler. So that's why I say, if you can cut a deal where he can't appear on camera, and and make it be and make it look like a coup for the other side. You can't, that's unacceptable. You can't have that.
No, you can't do that. Yeah. Of all things, you cannot let this guy pop back up on NXT in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Like, he can't be on TV in 3 weeks. Yeah. You cannot. But if he wants to go work down in Orlando behind the scenes and then, for X amount of time, and then he could, because you can't keep him off camera forever. That'll never hold up in court, and you can't expect someone to take a deal like that. But who knows? This is all speculation. I don't know. Maybe he's having a health issue. Maybe, and that would fit under the description of something off the record that you can't talk about, right? I mean, so I don't know. I mean, but Meltzer was also very much like, if this could end with him staying. He said this could end with, he absolutely could leave, but it also could end with him not leaving. And it's just an issue that I was told off the record and I can't talk about it. So, as far as talent, thinking his deal is up soon, I mean, talent hears a lot of weird things and spreads a lot of weird things that sometimes aren't true. You have to be careful, because I've talked about this before. You can talk to 3 different wrestlers about an incident that they were all in the same room for and get 3 different stories. It's weird that way, and there's a lot of telephone game.
And nobody knows when their contracts are up. You know what I mean? Like the other thing, like the other day, Dax is all over the place doing these Fightful interviews or whatnot. And in that interview, people kept sharing that, where he says, I think my contract's up in April. He doesn't even know when his contract's up. You know what I mean? Like, they don't know. Like, it's the wrestlers, man. Like,
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, nobody knows what's going on with that. If the MJF angle was a write-off, it was a pretty effective one. I thought that angle came across great on Dynamite last night. Regal with the blood coming out of his mouth, and they're carting him out. The one thing I'll say is, Regal turned on Mox, but they never really broke up the Blackpool Combat Club over the last 2 weeks. Obviously Moxley was upset with him. Danielson talked him down. Danielson still very clearly, his whole deal with the story is, Regal did a shitty thing, but he's still someone that I love and respect. He came out there when he got knocked out this week, obviously to set up a match with MJF. That's why MJF brought up Danielson in the promo too. Yeah, he brought up Ricky Starks, Eddie Kingston, and Bryan Danielson. Obviously, those are going to be future opponents. Starks already is. We know that. So, and this sets up a match with Danielson. He's going to want to seek revenge for Regal. Castagnoli and Utah haven't addressed it at all yet. So, they didn't break up that unit, which was the only thing that gave me pause. Like, oh, there's going to be more to this story because they didn't do an angle to break up the unit or anything like that. So, I don't know. I don't even know if this MJF angle will be the end because they still have to tie up all those. How can you have the Blackpool Combat Club and the guy's not there anymore? Well, what's the relationship to Blackpool at that point? So, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to, I think that the rumors of him going back are helping him get heat. And I think the crowds are aware of what's going on. And I think he's getting a little extra vitriol from the crowds because of that.
Right. And I think when MJF beat him up this week and the crowd was like happy about it, was a little bit of that's
shocked.
It was, yeah. But there was a few people that were kind of like, and that worked for the story. Well, I don't know if it worked for the story exactly, but the story, of MJF getting his revenge on Regal for him not signing him or whatever. It could be seen that way, or it could be seen as like, yeah, fuck that guy, go back to WWE. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good.
I think I liked MJF reading back the email, but swapping spots with Regal was so good. Oh my god, it's just now that's storytelling I could get behind. Like that's good shit. That came full circle, and. And it fit the motivations of the MJF character, and he uses the guy, and then when he's through with him, he decks him, and then he's still bitter about that fucking email, right? And then
he's got everything. He's got everything, but he still wants to get one more over on the guy. A man after my own heart, petty for no fucking reason anymore. Still like, yeah, motherfucker. Remember when you sent me this email? Go to hell,
Yeah,
he's got everything. He's got his belt. He's the top guy. He's won all the time, but he's still pissed about that fucking email from 10 years ago or whatever. So I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that is the William Regal stuff. And that's I think it's now time to probably get to the New Japan, All Japan stuff. We talked about Flagship Patreon a little bit earlier. I don't know do we have to do a heavy plug on that again? FlagshipPatreon.com, $5 tier, $10 tier. Plenty of great stuff going up there right now. We got the Halloween Havoc happenings. I finally finished that, even though it's late November. We got busy with the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame stuff, but I wanted to complete that series. It is completed. You're going to get a new series starting very, very soon. Christmas time with the Captain. We're going to go over Christmas-related wrestling matches, Christmas-related wrestling events, Christmas-related wrestling wrestlers. Santa Claus will be covered for sure. Christmas Creature will be covered. So it'll all be Christmas-themed wrestling stuff for the month of December there. So that's what I have going on. Goldberg 173-1 will also be wrapping that series up as we got to do November, which that'll be out in the next couple days. And then we do December, where Goldberg loses to Kevin Nash and all the fallout of that and everything else going on there. So that is all available, $5 tier. Instant Reaction Lives, that's on the $10 tier. Thursday TV reviews, the Thursday Dynamite reviews. You did a great one. So I've heard, I've not listened to it yet, but so I've heard a very good, it's got a lot of comments. I'm not looking at the comments because I don't want to, I guess you spoiled me already on what the thing was that you were upset about, but
I know, and when the audio is great.
Yeah.
Trust me, that's a great show. That's a great show. This week's review. I know when it's great. That's great. This show right now is great. I feel like this is a great show that we're having right this second. This is going to be a show that people are really going to enjoy. And I know that Dynamite review was a great show. Anyway, you may continue.
So you got that. So that's at the $5 tier as well. All of our written stuff is on the $10 tier. NFL Intelligentsia Week 12 recap just got posted a couple days ago. So you got that. All these Flagship Lives. If you're not listening to the Flagship Live, you can listen to it live for $10. Make sure you get on there. $10 per month. Also, your weekly match of the week. This week was Big Van Vader versus Crusher Bam Bam Bigelow from September 5th, 1988. And plenty of other just hours upon hours upon hours of audio. And now at this point, the archives are 4 years deep at this point. We had a guy the other day that was like, hey, what should I listen to? And I was like, oh God, like, how do I even begin to tell you all this shit that we've done so far over the last, because he's like, hey, I just subscribed and like, you got a lot of stuff. Where should I start? And it's like, I don't even know.
Man, just click the fucking tags and look around.
Yeah.
It's just, whatever tickles your fancy. But I tell you, writing up that little write-up I did for Bigelow and Vader, that's a handheld. A lot of handhelds from the 80s are emerging from New Japan, being uploaded by Japanese uploaders. And it's great. I mean, because we're seeing some stuff that was just assumed to be lost to history, right? These non-televised, non-taped New Japan shows. And there's these handhelds from crowds popping up. And Vader, Bigelow. That's
amazing. Can you just imagine just stumbling upon your VHS tape of Bigelow and Crusher Band? Like Big Man Vader. Like somebody in Japan was just like looking through tapes and was like, oh.
Yeah, I don't know if it's all the same uploader, but so much of this great assumed to be unfilmed footage is popping up on these handhelds, which gives you hope that there's just so much other stuff out there all over the world that someone had a camcorder and put it on tape, and then it could pop. Because who would think that these matches from the late 80s would, in the early 80s, in some cases, there's like Young Lion matches with, there was a Keiji Muto versus Masahiro Chono, I believe, Young Lion match from like 82 or 83 that popped up about a year ago. There's just so much great stuff. And this was one of those handhelds that popped up. And as I was doing the write-up for it, there's two things that really didn't occur to me when I was writing about Vader and Bigelow's careers. And the first was, Vader in a lot of ways replaced Bigelow in New Japan, and I never really thought of it that way, because Bigelow came in 87 before Vader and immediately was shot to the top to work with Inoki. And everywhere Bigelow went, he was shot straight to the top. His first WWF run when he left New Japan, shot straight to the top. That Survivor Series match where really, Hogan got eliminated before he did. And then he was 3 versus 1. And Bigelow had to make the big comeback, and he beat 2 guys. But then, Andre beat him in the end because they were keeping the Andre Hogan thing hot for WrestleMania 4. But, and then he worked he worked house show main events with Hogan until the roster turned on him. He got a lot of heat with the roster, and Andre didn't like him, and he eventually quit. But everywhere Bam Bam Bigelow went, he was a prodigy in those days. He got pushed to the top. So he went right to the top in New Japan, left for WWF. They bring in Vader at the end of, I want to say, whether it was 88 or 89, I can't remember, that December, the squash match against Inoki, which caused the riot, which got them kicked out of Sumo Hall, until 89. So that match had to be the end of 88. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But Vader came in after Bigelow, and then he got shot straight to the top. They did the angle with Inoki, and then he was working with Inoki on top. And then when Bigelow came back, that's where this handheld comes in. They put Bigelow and Vader against each other for a couple of matches when Bigelow first came back, because it was like the old Gaijin monster versus the new Gaijin monster. Right. And they did these great like double count out. Nobody, they didn't do clean finishes, and that's this match I think is a double count out, the one that I wrote up. But then Vader, who started around the same time, like Bigelow started on the East Coast around 85, 86. Vader started in the Midwest around 86, with the AWA, and Bigelow was on the East Coast. Paul Heyman had his claws in him early on, and Larry Sharp was taking him around to all the territories. Memphis, probably the most prominent one, but he was also Crusher Yurkoff in Dallas. And, so they kind of were both prodigies at the same time and considered hot prospects. And they both got booked for New Japan basically within the first year or two of their careers, which was unheard of. And to not only get booked, but to get, pushed to the top with Inoki. But those guys were tailor-made Inoki opponents. Like, he wanted to work with those guys. And and beat them and look like, fucking Inoki.
That's Inoki's shit completely, both those guys.
So Vader really replaced Bigelow, and then Bigelow came back and they wrestled each other in some singles, and that's the handheld that's up. And then they ended up coming together as a team, and they would team on and off for the next few years. But
yeah, that's how I knew them mostly. I never knew that they had straight up singles matches.
No one did. I mean, none of them are on tape, I don't think. And this, and or maybe one of them was. But so then Vader kind of just blew past them in terms of being pushed all over the world. And, it was around that time where he had world titles in three different countries, the UWA title in Mexico, and, in Japan and in the United States with, WCW. So he kind of, Bigelow kind of meandered for a while, and then he got the big opportunity at WrestleMania against Lawrence Taylor. And a lot of people thought that he did such a great job in that match that he should have earned himself a push. And he may have, except that he got on the wrong side of the clique.
Yeah, the clique didn't like him, so that didn't go
so politics again got in the way of his second WWF run. So that was never really what it could have been, even though he did headline at WrestleMania, which is something that Vader ultimately never did.
Right. And Vader also run amok of the clique very quickly in his time at WWF as well. So
yes, but it's interesting how their careers kind of, and I never thought of it that way. They started at the same time in two different parts of the country. Both got pushed immediately everywhere they went. Both made it in New Japan instantly and were put in feuds and, with Inoki. And then their careers kind of, Vader became an all-time legend and a Hall of Famer, and Bigelow never quite got there. He was still a major star and all of that.
But the problem with Bigelow is he never went back to Japan. And where Vader was able to get that little second post WWF Renaissance run, which wasn't as good as but it was still pretty solid. Like because the WWF stuff was awful. Like by the end, it was just terrible. And like the gimmick was that he literally on TV, I think, or on pay-per-view was like, I'm a fat piece of shit, I suck or whatever. And it's like, all right, it's gonna work pretty well. And then he leaves, and obviously he gets that little second run in Japan. Whereas Bigelow, he goes to, and I'm covering that right now in the Goldberg 173-1. He comes to WCW, and it's like they put him again, shoot him right to he's facing Goldberg, like right out of the gates in big time main event stuff, and it's really, really cool, but it peters out very fast. And it's really just they're using Bam Bigelow as a way to kind of build up heat on Goldberg to get him ready for Kevin Nash or whatever. And then once that's done, Bigelow just kind of hangs around. Then he just starts becoming like guy.
Total just a guy.
Oh, he's just like hitting. He becomes a hardcore, especially in that era, like the awful, like, shopping cart hardcore matches where they come out and just hit each other with trash can lids for, 5 minutes on Nitro or whatever. And then that's kind of the end of his career at that point, which sucks because it he never got that last gasp run. He just and Vader had the second life in Noah, right,
where he revamped his career and after the WWF run, he had that second sort of act in his career. Bigelow, of course, he had the nice run in ECW because, Paul Heyman booked Bigelow for his first match in the Studio 54 thing where he got all the guys from Crockett, Flair came up and Magnum TA and because Heyman was, a promoter at Studio 54 at that time. And, he got them to host this wrestling event and he was in on Vader. He was in on Bigelow from literally the jump. And whenever he had an opportunity, he would hook back up with Bigelow. And Bigelow was working in America in between New Japan tours. He would work the WCW shows in '88 when, and I'm sure Heyman had a hand in getting him in. And then, he obviously brought him into ECW and he had the very memorable feud with Taz. When Heyman was booking Windy City Wrestling, he would book Bigelow to come in and work those Windy City Wrestling shows when Heyman was there with, with the New Midnight Express and everything and was booking that promotion briefly. So Heyman was always closely tied. And in a lot of ways, this was the second thing that I realized when I was writing this up. Bam Bigelow was the first Paul Heyman guy. When you really look at it. From
like OG, a real OG Paul Heyman guy. Yeah. Like
85,
86.
1985,
Paul Heyman guy,
so, yeah. and Heyman, whenever he had an opportunity, used them for the rest of his career and pushed them and believed in them. So that's something I had never thought about, but that is the absolute truth. Bam Bigelow was the first Paul Heyman guy, and Larry Sharp's prize student And that really made the reputation of the Monster Factory. I mean, Bam Bam wasn't the first guy to come out of that place. But to this day, Larry Sharp's been dead for years. But when people talk about and it's different
Bam Bam.
owners. And,
yeah, Bam Bam.
Yeah, Bam Bam, Bam Bam. Yeah, that's what I meant. So when people talk about the Monster Factory to this day, they think of Bam Bam Bigelow coming out of there. And Larry Sharp took him around to these territories and acted as both his on-screen and off-screen manager, and brought him to Memphis and Dallas. And I don't know if he managed him in Dallas though, because he did the Russian gimmick in Dallas. And on Young Rock, where they totally fuck up every storyline and all the timelines, they claim that Bigelow was Crusher Yurkov in Memphis, which he was not.
Oh, no. God damn it.
I've
heard that show. I know. I've heard that if I watch it, I'll just get infuriated. So I've never watched it.
You got to see the actor they got to play Bam Bam on that show, though. I mean, you're like, holy shit, is he not dead? It's incredible.
Because most of the actors are horrific. Like the Mankind guy is like, he looked, yeah, okay. Let me look at Young Rock, Bam Bam Bigelow guy. Let's see. Whoa.
When you watch the clips, he has
holy
the whole
shit. That guy rocks. Yeah.
He's got the whole South Jersey dirtbag accent.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. Yeah. This guy looks great.
Yeah. They really did a great job casting the Bigelow for Memphis, but he was Bigelow. He was not Crusher Yurkov in Memphis. That was Dallas, I think. Let me double check that. Yeah, he was Crusher Yurkov in Dallas.
Like, 'cause I saw one clip and the guy they hit for like Andre. I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. I'm done already.
Some of them are really good. Yeah, you don't like Colt Cabana as Brooklyn Brawler?
No, that one's all right. That one's fine.
Or
the Undertaker one was so bad.
That one was bad. How about Luke Hawx as Stone Cold?
Oh yeah, I like a little Luke Hawx. Yeah, Hawksari. Yeah,
shaved head. But anyway, that write up is that was the match of the week, and I did a fairly one of my longer write ups for that one, for that Bigelow. Because as I was writing about the stupid little match, I realized there's a lot of history there and a lot of parallels between their careers and everything. So, I just kept going with it. And, so the write-ups vary. Sometimes they're short and it's just about, that match in a vacuum. And other times, I like to give a little history behind it and a little career retrospective and stuff. So, that was the match of the week this week anyway. So
there you go. That is all available.
Patreon or
yeah, that's all available. Flagshippatreon.com, patreon.com/voices of wrestling, voicesofwrestling.com/Patreon. All right. So that is all there. Let's get to these year-end tournaments here. We'll start with New Japan's World Tag League. We talked about this a couple weeks ago when they first announced this, but this is running obviously from November 21st to December 14th. Winners advance to the IWGP Tag Team title match at Wrestle Kingdom. As of right now, standings as of we're recording this, it's going live 12-1. I know there's a show this morning or tonight, however you want to say it, or tomorrow morning or whatever. So some of these numbers are going to be out of date, but as it stands right now, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis, Aussie Open.
Okay, hold on. If you're a subscriber and you're looking at the run sheet, yeah, that's one show out of date. Aussie Open are still undefeated though. They're 4-0. They beat Evil and Yujiro on the 30th, so they have 8 points. They're still in first place.
Oh shoot! Okay, so all these are all wrong then, huh?
Yeah, I can give it to you. So they have.
Right, go ahead, yeah, because I had these, and I guess I didn't update from the last show. Okay, go ahead.
And that's the big story. Aussie Open's getting the big push out of the gate because they're introducing them to the Japanese audience, and we've seen Gato book tournaments like that before. So they're in first place with 8 points.
And they've been good. They've been good too. Well deserved.
Yeah,
8 points. They've been having great matches. That one with Goto and Yoshihashi. I love that match.
Yeah, they have been good. Archer and Suzuki, who of course won it in 2011, they've got 6, so 3-1. TMDK have 6. Mad Mikey Nichols and Shane Haste. They are working heel, and this is not the Noah version. I like what they're doing. They're working with an edge. They're shit talking. I've liked them a lot. It sounds like I've liked them more than you have.
A little bit more. They're not as bad. They're not as bad, but they're I don't know. They're fine.
They're different than what they were before in Japan, for sure. They're not doing the fiery babyface TMDK thing that they were doing in Noah. They are firmly working heel. Then there's a bunch of teams with 4 points. We are told in the chat, breaking news, that Chase Owens has left the tour due for a funeral, a death in the family. So it looks like Fale and Owens will forfeit the rest of their matches, which could fuck up the booking.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
We'll have to take a look at who they had left on the docket.
Yeah. Let me fire that up real quick while you're going through to see. Yeah. That's it. Always, it's like it's a team that wasn't going to win, which obviously like it doesn't affect that, but it affects like how you want to book the rest of the way, because
it fucks everything up, because if they were supposed to beat
and there's so many, I forget, there's a lot of matches left on this thing. Yeah, that's
five. They each have 5 matches left. They're only 4 matches in.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah, they had man. Yeah, it's gonna suck. Shit.
That's the worst nightmare when someone gets hurt or has to leave the tour, because you got to rebook everything. Because even though they weren't going to be factors, they may have had an upset somewhere later that was going to keep another team out of the mix. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's a cascading series of problems when that happens. So, but anyway, they were one of the teams with 4, Hanare and Okan and Tanahashi and Yano. And from what I've seen, all the matches are okay. I don't. Have you seen any that you think are standouts that people have to watch? I don't
really
think so either.
I would say maybe the Aussie Open Yoshihashi Goto match is like pretty good.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite match of the tournament, but I'm usually never that inspired by World Tag League. And this year in particular, it's really tough to get inspired by, because there's still a lot of crowds that aren't quite there yet. And even the crowds that are allowed to cheer are still just kind of clapping more than cheering or whatever. So I don't know. It hasn't quite felt like, I don't know. It's World Tag League. Like, it's hard to get excited about it in normal circumstances, but in this still weird Japan, it's been tough.
I got to tell you, and I'm not jumping ahead, but the All Japan Real World, they worked Cork in the first couple nights, and then they went to the first ring, that tiny building that holds like 200 people, but those fans were allowed to cheer, and my God, the energy. And remember, there's only like 200 fans. The difference in energy.
I'm gonna have to watch that show. I did not see that one, but I should.
It was so drastic, and you can tell that the workers feel it and work harder because of it. These guys in Japan are starving to work in front of crowds that can cheer. And that whole show just had a pep in it. And All Japan, that's the sleepiest lack of energy promotion around. That show had a real energy to it, and it trickled, and the wrestlers were energetic, and I almost skipped that show because it's the dumb first ring with 200 fans, but I'm glad I watched it. I really enjoyed it. And there was such a drastic difference between that and these Korakuen crowds that are, everybody's wearing a mask and they're just clapping, and 400, 500 people, whatever it is there. But some of these New Japan shows too have, real crowd. The Tokyo Dome's not going to have cheering crowds, which again is fucking sucks. I mean, what is this, 3 straight years of that now?
Yeah.
Or I guess 21, 20, 22, and 23. Yeah, that's the 3rd straight year. And man, that Kenny Omega Will Ospreay match with clap crowd, it's just such a shame. I mean, that's an all-time, that's one of the few dream matches left on the table, and it has a chance to be an all-time great match, and it's just fucking bullshit, clap crowd, fucking horse shit. It's irritating.
In an echoey, it's not even like it'll echo and it'll be all weird.
That stupid dome. It's just the atmosphere stinks. That's really a shame. But I mean, I've gotten to the point where the first couple shows I watched every match because you want to get a feel for it, and then now there's a lot of liberal skipping going on. Like, I'm not wasting a second of my time on Evil and Yujiro anymore. I'm not wasting a second of my time on, like with the juniors, Rusuke Taguchi instant skip. Oh. Sorry, Clark Connors.
So bad. Yeah, I feel bad for the Australian Outback Clark Connors, but yeah, is an immediate.
No, that's it.
Yeah, that's
finished. Show and Dick Togo, instant skip.
Their act is, it's making it it's fun to watch it like once or twice, but yeah, it starts to wear on you a little bit. But I've maybe enjoyed it a little bit more than I thought I would.
So, there's stuff that you can skip around. As far as the junior tournament, I mean, what's interesting to me is TJP and Akira, the good Italian boy, Catch 22, as they're calling themselves now. They've had the best match on this tour. And that was the main event of the very first show, which was it was Catch 22 versus Yo and Lio Rush. I went 4.5 on that. I thought that was one of the best tag team matches of the year. I mean, right up there with maybe a notch below the FTR Briscoe matches, maybe a notch below FTR Aussie Open, maybe. But to me, a lot closer than you might think. I mean, that was a legitimately great match that I strongly recommend everybody listening to carve some time out for.
Yeah, it was good as hell. And those guys are just, I mean, they're a different level of like good pro wrestlers. You know what I mean? Like, especially TJP and Akira. That's just like you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but like those guys they're just good wrestlers. You know what I mean? They're just better.
TJP is a disgustingly good pro wrestler.
Yeah, he's just annoyingly
I don't
great.
give a shit what you think of him. He's obviously a douche on Twitter, and he's not the most likable guy. I don't care. I'm not doing a podcast about nice guys. I'm doing a podcast about wrestling. He is a disgustingly good pro wrestler. Like he's so good. Like everything he does is by the book and great. Sells his offense, his execution. It's in terms of that bell to bell. And Akira had some growing pains when he and it's not like he looked out of place, but the more tours he works, the better he gets. Lio Rush has been fantastic on this tour. We give him a lot of shit. He's in and out of the ring all the time. He has been utterly fantastic. I think they've been the second best team on the tour behind TJP and Akira. But the thing about TJP and Akira is they have had the benefit of working the main event on every show. They work the main event.
That's true, and they've been getting time, and
getting time.
Yeah, for sure.
And they've worked the main event of every, because they're alternating nights.
Yeah, and Aussie's been getting a lot of main events too, which helps their case too.
They clearly are being pushed, Aussie Open, clearly. But they're working the main event on the junior nights, and then on the mixed nights, they work the semi underneath the heavyweight main event. The only match so far, and I'm one show behind, was when they worked Show and Evil. Not Show and Evil. Show and Dick Togo. Then they went on like second or whatever because, fuck, Show and Dick Togo. But whenever they work a real team, they're in the main event and they're delivering. I mean, to me, that was the best match of the tour. All their matches have been very good. Yo and Lio Rush, to me, have had a very good tour. I've enjoyed I've enjoyed the junior matches better than the heavyweight matches, I think.
Oh, I agree. And that's usually the case for me as well. I mean, I just think the juniors tag league is always a little bit better because there's less Show and Dick Togo and Taguchi and Connors kind of drag it down, but pretty much everybody else, Kushida and Kevin Knight's been a pretty fun team. Kanemaru and Doki are solid as hell. I love Eagles. I love Eagles and Tiger Mask. I love that team. And then, the top end of it is, Ace Austin and Chris Bay. That's a really, really fun team. Chris Bay is really, really good. TJP and Akira, as you mentioned, those guys are just tremendous wrestlers. So that's been great. Yeah, and Zayn and Lindemann have been really fun, too. I like those guys a lot. And fucking Bushi and T-Town. Like, there's a lot of talent in that Super Junior. There's a lot of meh on the world with the heavyweight league. You know what I mean? There's a lot. I mean, Tanahashi's getting weighed down by being with Yano. Evil and Yujiro is a complete skip. Foley and Owens is a complete skip. Sonata kind of bores me to tears these days.
Naito and Sonata,
they're boring me to fucking tears.
I'm almost to the point of skip.
Right. I just pretty close. So you got them, and then some of the other guys are fine, but I haven't liked the Haste and Nichols as much as you have, so they've kind of been meh. So it's there's not a whole lot that I love, and that's why Fletcher or Aussie Open and Goto and Yoshihashi, which is two teams that I've liked a lot of their stuff. When they had a match, I was like, oh, that was great. And they got time. It was the main event, all that sort of stuff. So that was really, really cool. But yeah, by and large, I think I'm with you that I've liked the junior tag league a little bit more.
Yeah. So let's do the old skip-a-roo to the end of the tour here and see how this thing's going to shake out. So let's spoil this for everybody.
Spoil it, yeah. So, by the way, if you're into World Tag League or maybe skip ahead 5 minutes because we're going to spoil it for you here in a second. So.
And then 12-14 is the final. Okay, so the 12-11 is the last night of the heavyweights. Aussie Open faces Fale and Owens, so they're going to get, man, they got to be creative to build drama now because Aussie Open's just getting 2 free points on the final night. So, you can't even get them in the ring and tease an upset, right? That's a tricky scenario.
Yeah.
So, and Suzuki-gun, Archer and Suzuki, they've got Coughlin and Kidd, and there's no way they're losing that. And so if they're in the mix at the end, they're going to win on the final night. I don't see anything that jumps out at me as the obvious deciding matches in terms of who's going to work the final 2 nights later. As far as the juniors go, that would be night 15, right? The 10th. Yeah. Okay. So Akira and TJP face Ace Austin and Chris Bay. That might be for.
Yeah. They're both near the top right now. So yeah, that makes sense.
It's really an even split. There's like 4 teams with 8 points. And then, yeah, look, the other one is Leo Rush and Yo versus Bushi and Teton.
Oh, okay. So yeah, those guys will.
The winners of those 2 matches will be in the final.
Right.
As I look at this, well, I guess where the Strong Hearts team right now? They also have 8.
They feel like they'll probably fall off before that final day.
You know what? They're a team that could easily fall off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming from another promotion and all that, and
they won't have them in the mix the final night. I don't think so, at least.
Well, they're facing Dookie and Kanemaru, so they're gonna. Well, you know what? That screams upset. Honestly.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's a grimy upset, is what that is.
That's Dookie with a staff and then a roll up. Yeah, that's no, for sure.
Yeah, Kanemaru spitting the whiskey in someone's face.
Right. Yeah, that's spitting whiskey. Dookie with the roll up, from behind and holding the tights a little bit. 1, 2. Oh my God, they did it. I mean, like.
Right. So Wild Hips and House of Torture will mean nothing. And obviously Kevin Knight and Kushida versus Flying Tiger, that's going to mean nothing. Kevin Knight, it's interesting because halfway through the tour they gave him a gimmick. Like he's not a young boy all of a sudden. Like he started the tour as a young boy. And then on the last show that I watched, he came out with gear and personality. That's bizarre, like to do that in the middle of a tour. But
yeah, I guess did they just think they had to add something to that team because that would be a little bit of a bore if they're just maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, they won a match. I thought they were going to go 0-9, but they won a match. So, and not even that match. So, they beat House of Torture, who haven't won a match yet. Togo and Show. Togo's going to go 0-9. It looks like. So, they already had him. They already had his team beat a team that doesn't have any Young Lions on it. And then a couple nights later, he came out with gear. So he's already out of Young Lion status, which is interesting. I didn't expect that. I thought he would just eat 9 pins. So, but they won't be in the mix. But look, my advice for both of these tours, a lot of times World Tag League, I'm like, I can't fucking watch this. I'll see you at Wrestle Kingdom. This hasn't been that bad. And the junior matches have all been pretty good. My advice would be pick out the teams you like and watch all their stuff, and you're not going to be disappointed.
Yeah. I think what I always do is like what you do. The first few nights, I try to watch everything, and then I go, okay, life's too short to watch any more Bad Luck Fale. I'm good. Now I move on. I've done it. I've found out what the overall aura is going to be, and now I'm just finding teams and matches and nights that look fun or good.
And you can kind of get an idea of who they're behind, who they're not behind, and how the teams are going to work.
Right.
Those first couple nights. Yeah. So, but if you just watch the teams that you like, you're probably going to like everything, because, everything's been pretty good, unless you're like some evil Yujiro sicko. I mean, but if you like that, then you're probably going to like all that bullshit. So, we'll see. It's a very long tour.
Angry216 brings up a very good point in the Notebs chat room. He says, do you think that might be the Kevin Knight thing might be the new directive of fast tracking the Young Lions?
It very well could be.
I'm saying, you know what? Fuck it. This guy's here. He's with Kushida. Let's give him something that let's call him the what is he? The Jet or whatever the hell it is or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on what it was, but like, yeah, let's get, let's go. We don't have to sit here and do the black trunks thing for 5 years. Let's go. Like, we got this guy. We know he's good. Just do it. It might be.
It's possible, because that's from the top. That's from, the bosses, the big bosses, the suits. So, that's the salary man directive. So it's very, that's definitely plausible. But this thing goes until, the final is the 14th, right?
Yes, yeah.
When Machine Gunka comes back, bright lights.
The bright lights of
bright lights.
The Sendai Sun Plaza, wherever the hell they're at. I don't know where they're at, but not the Tokyo Dome, not the Dome.
Do you think they'd have the balls to pull the rug out again and then do it at Wrestle Kingdom?
Ooh.
People are real mad.
They get real mad.
I don't know what they're so mad about.
I wish they would. I hope they do.
Me too. For Schadenfreude reasons. So people fucking complain
I hope
again.
The same promo where Gallows is like, nah, man, we ain't going there for that. World Tag League ain't shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, because this little fucking storyline has angered people.
Yeah.
Like they're mad.
Carl Anderson.
All this for Carl.
He's too good for New Japan. Yeah.
All this for Carl. Yeah. All this. You wouldn't care otherwise. They fucking building a little interest here. I think they've been very creative with a bad situation.
Yes.
I think everyone across the board here has done a great job doing their best with this shitty hand. They got dealt 2-7 offsuit, and they're doing their best with this, and milking this hand. And doing what they can to make the best of this shit situation. So, and I think it'll be, a stupid little fun match on the 14th. Hikuleo will probably squash him, and that'll be that. Happy ending for all. As far as the All Japan, you got anything else on the New Japan tournament?
No. We can move to All Japan.
I think I hit all the major themes there. So, the All Japan tournaments. Okay, so the Real World Tag League has been way more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I am up to the 20th, which means I haven't seen, what's today's date? Today's the 1st. I haven't seen the 11/23 show.
Oh, I spoiled it for you then, because you have a random Slack message that probably makes absolutely no sense to you whatsoever.
Oh, I don't mind. It
was more about where the 11/27 show took place. More so, there was no spoilers in it, but
from the fucking flea market,
from the farmer's market or the flea market or whatever.
Yeah. There's the show on the 27th, which I also haven't seen, is in a flea market, and I heard the atmosphere was pretty.
It's great. It's awesome. Yeah, it's a fun show because this crowd is into it, and they start off like they have Kento Miyahara come out first. He opens the show and he does that Kento thing where he's just like, he comes out. And he's like, no, you're not loud enough. Be loud. And it takes him 25 minutes to come to the ring because he's like, no, I'm not getting in that ring until you all start cheering. He does this little arm thing while it replays like 7 times. And he's like, no, he keeps putting his arms up. And then finally they get going, and then he gets in the ring, and they have a fucking hell of a match. They go out, and then the rest of the night, that crowd's hot. Like, they're hot. There's a guy that comes in with daikon radishes at some point. I'm not sure exactly what was going on. There was no commentary. Yeah. Not that I could understand the commentary anyway, but yeah, it was a hot crowd. And like you said, the guys worked. Like, everybody had their working boots on in that show. So it's a really, really fun show. I guess it's in Suwama's hometown. It's like some market that I'm supposed to know about, but whatever. Either way, at first you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what has All Japan stooped to? This is so bad. There's just a bunch of pallets behind them, but it ends up actually being a pretty fun show. So it's okay.
All right. So there's a rec for that one. And like I said earlier, night 2 in the Shinkiba first ring, I would recommend that show because it had really great energy. And they did the GOA, which is Ryuki Honda and Shotaro Ishino. The main event was against Suwama and Masayuki Kono, who's working as Kono on this tour. Oddly enough, I forgot that man existed because when Wrestle One, one of them grimy Wrestle One veterans, Muto never brought him in.
Where did he go? What did he do?
I guess he doesn't have the right allies. He's been working like Tenru Project or something.
No.
But anyway, he's back in the mix here. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot. It's like you just forgot he existed. But Ashino, beat Suwama on that show. And that show had great energy in the little building. I fully recommend that show. But what's going on now is Ashino is now out injured. And a lot of people really felt like they were going to win, Ashino and Honda.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be a situation where not only you have to rebook, but you have to figure out new winners, because a lot of people in the know felt like they were a real threat to win the whole tournament. So that gets messy. You've got some of the other themes. Yuji Nagata's teaming with Yuma Anzai. And if you remember, we talked about this. Nagata loves this kid. Wanted to try to get him to come to New Japan. All Japan got him. Nagata lobbied to work with him in his singles match. And now he's teaming with him here. You could tell Nagata loves this guy. And they've been winning matches, even though he's a literal less than 20 match rookie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
but we've always, and we talked about it when he debuted a couple months ago, that everybody in the universe thinks that this guy is like the dude. Everybody and it's just, especially All Japan needs this guy to be the guy. So like they're putting everything behind this, behind him being the guy, and Nagata, like you said, clearly likes him and is more than willing to help build him up or whatever. So yeah, this is full steam ahead for this guy. They're not going to have him take his licks. They need this guy to start becoming a dude pretty soon. So
yeah, so they I fully endorse, they think he's better than the other young guys they've had come in, the other trainees, and I have no problem with just getting behind him now.
No, go ahead, go for it.
Do it. Look, he's not getting a monster push. I mean, he's eating pins when they lose and things like that, but I'm just saying there's not a situation where he's going to take lumps for 3 years. I mean, they're going to push him a little bit. And the Saitos are back and they're doing the voodoo murder gimmick, which I think is perfect for them, because look, they're not good. Okay.
They've clearly become big uglies. And I mentioned that when they came back. I was like, they've somehow just become like a 1986 Mid-Atlantic team where you're like, oh fuck, like look at these guys. And they're just like big uglies. And that's fine. That's that, you know what?
But one that's not pushed. Like,
right.
Yeah. So they're just big, uncoordinated, untalented, charismaless. I mean, they just have nothing going for them. So it sounds like I'm burying them, but making them grimy is the way to go.
Right. Continuing to try to pretend that they're good is bad. Don't do that. Like, they're not good. Right. They're not going to be good. They're not going to turn around. They're not going to suddenly wake up one day and become coordinated good pro wrestlers. So make them big uglies, because they're big and they grew their hair out. Now they got some facial hair. They're good at they're good at that. You know what I mean? They're not bad at being a slow, basic, like you said, Voodoo Murderers is probably the perfect role for those guys. So it's the first time that I've said, yes, this is what you can do with these guys. I never bought in when people are talking, no, these guys have talent, or no, they think that they might think that these guys are going to be something, but they're not. I can tell you right now, these guys are not going to be something. This now, it's like, all right, yes, this is probably where they should be. This role is going to work for them.
Yeah, I mean, they're just like the Road Warriors. If the Road Warriors had no charisma, no talent, no athleticism,
just take out everything that made the Road Warriors good. Yeah, they're like the Road Warriors.
A bad look and no ability.
Right. But other than that, they're the Road Warriors.
Other than that, they're just like the Road Warriors. I've enjoyed watching them though, because like you said, they're no longer pretending they're anything other than that. So now this thing looks wide open. My boy Cyrus is doing a nice job with Ishikawa. Yeah. Look, I don't care. That's an upgrade from when they tried to put Twin Towers back together.
Oh God, yeah.
And what's his name is completely shot. I can't think of his name. Kohei Sato is completely shot. So that's undoubtedly I'm not doing shtick. I think Cyrus is an upgrade from that. So I don't think, again, do I think he's fantastic? No, but as a stupid fucking ugly gaijin to bring in and team with Ishikawa, who's completely shot, by the way. Suji Ishikawa.
Oh yeah,
look, I love me some big dog. Guy had a lot of great years as a pro wrestler. There was a period there, maybe, I don't know, 2015 to 20, I don't know what years you want to use, but there was that one Champion Carnival where it was as obvious as a ton of bricks that he was no longer had it. And that might have been the one right before the pandemic or during the pandemic. And then now he's just completely shot, and he doesn't bump. Like, he doesn't even pretend to bump. He can't move. He just, he's not moving around real well. And with all of that said, he's still like 10 times better than Kohei Sato.
I always say they couldn't bend his knees.
And so, you bring in Cyrus, and he's like, the workhorse. And that's Cyrus. You can tell that he appreciates the fact that he's getting all these Japan tours.
Yeah, and Big Ugly's rule. Like, that's the thing. Like, wrestling is good if it has ugly dudes. You know what I mean? Like, big, ugly weirdos are great. Like, I have no problem with that.
I like that there's a little bit of this going because it makes it feel different.
Yeah, for sure.
And, and they needed new blood. So the Saetos, with the fucking Dream Warriors, they censor the song on some of the shows. And then on others, they play it.
Yeah.
Give me the docking. I want the docking. That's an important part of the act. Okay? Give me the docking. Or give me a suitable replacement like Red Dragon. Give me something that sounds like the docking. So, between those guys and Cyrus and, getting some new blood in there, this Anzai, we'll see if he can become anything. But, wide open tournament right now, especially with the Ashino injury. And it's been a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I tell you, Takuya Nomura, who's teaming with Miyahara. Look, I've enjoyed a lot of his stuff over the years, but I mean, he's a guy he's just with the black tights and his pudgy body and his stupid bowl haircut. Like, there's just no charisma whatsoever there. It's
well, and the problem too is it becomes like a shining light when you're in there with Kento Miyahara. You know what I mean? Every night you're in there with Kento Miyahara, who's just like the dude, the man, the guy. He's just oozing
stands
charisma.
Out over everybody else.
Stands out. The fans love him. He loves the fans. It's clearly the representative of the company. And then he tags in Nomura, who and I like Nomura's work though. I will say that I've liked his work and everything. Every match that I've watched, I really really like with these two. But yeah, he's not that guy. You know what I mean? He's not. You cannot in any universe make this guy your top dude in the company, especially all
Japan. And that's why he's slumming it up in Big Japan. And look, if I'm Big Japan, what
choice do you have? Yeah, I mean, what fucking choice do you have at this point? But
yeah, but even they have hesitated over the years to really really turn it up with him. I know he had at least one reign with their big belt, but he's mostly been a tag team guy with Abe, as the Astronauts tag team, which on the rare occasion these days, like ever since the early days of the pandemic, I haven't really had my eye on Big Japan at all, but on the rare occasion I see an Astronauts match, they're excellent, a tag team. But his lack of charisma really is exemplified on these All Japan shows. And it's not like All Japan is a haven of fucking charismatic fucking superstars. It's Kento Miyahara and a bunch of guys. So I can only imagine how he would come across in a place like Noah, let alone someplace like New Japan or on American TV or something, despite the fact that he's such a good worker. So, I'm not trying to bury the guy. It's just these have been my takeaways as I'm watching this thing. So, and you got the two Voodoo Murder teams, and it's some of that stuff I can do without, but it hasn't been overbearing the way that the House of Torture stuff has been on the other tour. As far as the Junior Battle of Glory, I mean, do we really have to do this thing every year?
I couldn't believe when I saw the lineup, and it's just like,
what the fuck's the point?
It's just these 6 dudes, and it's just like, all right.
The matches have been nothing special.
No, they haven't been very good.
I'm gonna fight my way through it, and I'm gonna keep watching. Aoyagi is the champ. I feel like Mike Francesa talking about Florida State versus Maryland at the 2019 NCAA tournament where he did 7 minutes on it, even though he had absolutely nothing to say.
Right. You just don't have to say anything. Segment? I have seen it. Yeah. Yeah. You just don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to.
They're hot. They're cold. They had some injuries.
Right, just generic platitudes about it.
The best player's been hot and cold. He had no idea.
No clue.
Not a fucking clue. He knew nothing about either one of those. He couldn't tell you the coach of either team, not a single player. that's me trying to talk about this tournament, except I've watched it all.
Right, yeah. What can you tell me about Dan Tamura and Rising Hayato?
And, I could see neither team winning would surprise me. Like this, anyone can win. It wouldn't make sense for Aoyagi to win, I guess. But, hey, you want to give Dan Tamura that big fucking Junior Battle of Glory push? Go for it. You want to do Hikaru Sato for the 900th time in a title match? Knock yourself out. What do you want me to say about this? Rising Hayato, I can't stand that fucking guy. He's just every fucking annoying, like, Gen Z fucking Zennial trait guy. I can't stand his gimmick or the way he carries himself. So I don't like him. That guy can hit the bricks.
Hikaru Sato, that's a 9-year rivalry with you.
Yeah, and he kind of won me over like the last few years. But I mean, do we really need him in another time? This tournament it's dry as a bone. There's no reason for it to exist. Look at this pathetic fucking lineup of juniors.
It's so bad.
Look at this.
I would be embarrassed to make this. I would just say we're not doing the Junior Battle of Glory this year.
Yeah, you're trying to get me into Dan Tamura. That's not going to fire me up. I can't do it.
Ryo Inoue and Dan Tamura's not doing it for you? Not getting you excited?
Rising Hayato, who looks like he belongs in Rattels. I can't. You got the young guys. I mean, they gave the young guy a win. Inoue.
They had to. There's not many. There's only 6 guys. It's no way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so dry. Like, there's no one interesting in this thing.
Last year, I went to go look it up. Like last year, there was like 12 guys or whatever. It was a full tournament. This year, we have 6 dudes. You know what I mean? Just don't do it. It's okay. You don't have to do it. A couple.
What
years
did last year's look like? What did
last year's was Akira, Tajiri, Tamura, Black Menso Ray was in there. Sugi was still in there. So you still had a lot of guys.
That was interesting. I think
Al Lindemann was still in there then.
Didn't we like that? We positively reviewed.
I think so. Yeah, because there was a lot of really good matches. Like Lindemann was great. Yeah. Lindemann was because the final was Lindemann and Akira, and those guys were fantastic the whole tournament.
Yeah.
All right. No, Al Lindemann ain't walking through that door. I'll tell you that for this year.
No. This is a really, really sad lineup.
It's very sad. Yeah, when you only have 6 guys, just call it a day.
Well, look at that. Is there any match that you need to see from those 6 guys?
No.
There's not one. I mean, seriously, there's not one match I would put together where I'm like, I need to see. I can't wait for Hokuto Omori versus Atsuki Aoyagi. No, there's not one match I want to see.
That honestly is probably my match, but that's not good. You know what I mean? Like, that's not good. And I guess they haven't had that. That hasn't happened yet, right? No, it hasn't. Yeah, that's probably my match that I'd pick, but that's not gonna keep me up at night. Thinking about, oh man, one of these mornings I'm gonna wake up and Omori versus Aoyagi is gonna come, and God, I can't wait.
Yeah,
not quite.
So that I mean, I can confidently tell people full skip. You don't need to watch. Nothing I've seen so far from that tournament has done a thing for me. But the real world tag league has been it's shockingly held my interest. I'm not sick of it yet. I think I'm gonna get through the whole thing, and now I'm intrigued where they go with it too. I don't. There's not an obvious final or winner or anything. So, from that standpoint, nothing would surprise me. That's they're hot, they're cold. The champs are. Was it Kono and Sawama, right? I think so.
I think, yeah. I fell off. I fell off from All Japan during the Clap Crowd era. Right?
They did an All Asia tag title change on this tour.
What show was that? I thought I've been bouncing around, so I haven't watched all of it.
You might not have seen it yet because it was it's on a show I didn't watch yet either. But Tajiri and Yoshitatsu lost to the secondary GOA team. Obviously not Ashino, and they lost to Hanahata and Yusuke Kodama on the show on the 27th.
Oh, never mind. I did watch that one. Yes.
Yeah. How was that? Did you watch that match?
That was, I don't remember. For some reason, I don't remember that match. So maybe
because it was a tournament match. So you probably
maybe I did. Yeah. You know what? I think I did. I think I was like, I just want to watch the tournament here. So I skipped that one. I do remember that now. I remember them coming out to the ring and me being like, nah, I want to watch tournament stuff. So I'm just going to keep moving on. So
I was going to say, like, I'm thinking watching this thing, like the Saito should just win, but that's like Voodoo Murder versus Voodoo Murder if they do that. And I don't know if they want to have that dynamic, right? Because the champs are Voodoo Murder too.
Yeah, right.
So, because I again, they really stink, but I'm not against pushing them at all. You need new blood. This company needs new blood so bad. And
damn it, you know what happened in my haste to skip the Yoshitatsu Tajiri.
Yeah,
All Asia Tag. I missed Aoyagi and Omori, the one match I was looking forward to in the Junior Battle of Glory.
I gotta go
because
back.
I went right to the Saitos, and I was like, all right, here we go, back on the tournament. Fuck. Well,
you're not going to go back and watch it, but you need to go back and watch it. You have so many better things to do than watch.
I'm not going to, but I need to. I will.
Darn, I missed this Junior Battle of Glory match. I gotta go back and watch it.
If I have time tonight, I will fit it in, but probably just gonna go to sleep and then wake up and do other stuff.
Why does New Japan World not have the thing where you could just continue where you left off?
They used to, and I feel like they took it away because they used to have it. I swear they used to have it.
And the other thing, when you click a show on All Japan Pro Wrestling.tv, you could scroll down, the whole card is on the screen for you. Yeah. Right. And for some of these tournament shows, they even have the records and the points for the tag teams, which is helpful too. So you can get yourself into it. Be like, look at this. These two teams both have 4 points.
Oh, yeah.
Pivotal matchup here for Arashi and Doi, who have great theme music, by the way. I love the Arashi Doi song. It gets stuck in my head every time. But then there's a lot of good theme songs in All Japan, actually, because
they do have some real solid music. Yeah, Miyahara that's an all-timer for Miyahara.
I like Jake Lee's heel theme, and there's some good ones there. But yeah, they give you the little records and the points. Like New Japan World feels like there's more money behind that site, right? But they don't have the same kind of features that the All Japan, that I'd like to see on New Japan.
Yeah, All Japan World is like one of the most user-friendly ones of all of them. It's like super easy to find what you need. The graphics are all really good. The matches. It has you can pick up where you left off instantly. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I like about All Japan World. All Japan World. Yeah. All Japan.tv or whatever. So
yeah, they should have. Why didn't they bring in Abe to team with Nomura and give Miyahara a different partner?
Who knows?
That would have been fun, right?
They don't have a whole lot of money, Joe, so I think it's just whoever they can get at whatever price they can get them. Yeah. Don't think they really can have the liberty of just saying, all right, who should we book? It's like, who can we book is more the decision I think they have to make every year.
Now. Yeah, Cyrus doesn't strike me as a guy.
He's not probably putting him over a barrel for his booking fee,
He's not making those Brody payoffs,
Right,
so
right.
I when you can only afford half of the astronauts, that's what your lot in life is right now. That Junior Battle of Glory lineup is
so sad.
Like looking at it in print.
Oh, it's so bad. When I wrote it out today, I was like, oh no, it's only 6 guys. And half of them are Sato, Rising Hayato, and Dan Tamura. It's like, oh God.
Yeah.
Anyway, coverage of that at voicesofwrestling.com. Gerard, co-host of the Emerald Flow show here on the Voice Wrestling Podcast Network. Covering all of them, though. Covering each and every show. voicesofwrestling.com.
Yeah, we'll be on top of these finals.
Of course, gotta.
Yeah, I don't know when the All Japan final is. The cage match is a little behind on the All Japan, so they don't have the future cards up. The Saitos don't even have profiles yet.
Come on.
Who's working over there? Jeez. No, the good people at Cage Match. I don't know how they do it, honestly.
I would have deleted the site a long time ago. Yeah. Well, once this whole shit started happening with the WWE fans, I would have just deleted the site and said, we're done. We had a good run, but it's over. So we got to go.
What a service they provide, and for free. You have to pay for this shit. Yeah. It's crazy. Think of your experience as a fan without this site.
Oh, it'd be, every day. It's every single day. Every single day.
Every day, all 3 tabs open with different windows from the site. Just fantastic. Couldn't live without it. I don't think I can live without it at this point.
I mean, I could go to Internet Wrestling Database or whatever, Wrestling Data or whatever, but it's not, I don't, you pick your one and you like your one, and then it's not the same.
Yeah. Wrestling Data, I think, is another one. I don't know. They're not the same. We got anything else here? Or are we running out the string?
We are playing out the string here. We're over. We're over 3 hours too, so we gave people bonus. I mean, you got to cover Battle of Glory. You just got to cover it. Oh, real quick, there's a new streaming platform, Premium Streaming Network. It's coming sometime in 2023. It's led by Paul Owen and Josh Chernoff, who were both previously with Fight. Owen was he used to work for UFC Fight Pass, and he spent time with WWE as a content curation editor on the WWE Network. And Chernoff was the director of programming over at Fight. So they are starting a new network. So there's Fight, there's going to be this thing, there's going to be that thing, there's going to be everything, but no partnerships or relationships announced at this time.
Oh,
but,
great. No content. Fantastic.
No content, but something to keep your eye on because these guys do have wrestling backgrounds and connections. So
yeah,
we'll see. I guess it's good for wrestling companies. You'll get a bidding war, hopefully going, and multiple people want your content to fill out their content platform. So that's good, I guess. So
could Fight have seen this coming, and that's why they're gobbling up all these indies?
That's very possible, yes. I don't know when Chernoff left, but maybe he left and they got wind of it and said, oh shit, we better figure out something here. Let me see when. Probably go to Josh Chernoff's LinkedIn and find out when he
What do you make of that Fight thing? It reeks of desperation to me. I
don't know how it makes any money, and there's no way it's going to make any money. They're probably paying these companies up front, which I don't think they're going to get any return on investment paying these companies up front.
Absolutely are paying them up front. Otherwise, they all wouldn't be jumping over.
Right. And I don't. It reeks of we're just trying to gobble up as many users as we can, and then hopefully somebody buys us, or we just go out of business type of thing.
Yeah.
So Chernoff left Fight in October of 2022.
Oh, like last week.
Yeah. So very recently.
Yeah, I'm just thinking maybe this was another domino falling and would explain Fight, shifting very hard into indie wrestling.
Yeah. And going with the model that they're going with, which is just not going to make them as much money as they were making before. So
doesn't sound great. Sounds like, desperation or grasping at straws, but I don't know. I guess we'll see how it plays out, but this could have something to do with it.
Yeah.
You figure they would know this was coming down the pike. If the guy left in October, he probably told him he was leaving well before that. And, maybe they knew he was going to try to start something up. But if he's starting something up, then he feels like it can be profitable.
At least in the short term. I mean, and that's unfortunately modern business is kind of weird where it's like the old business of I'm going to run a business and make money. Like that doesn't exist. Now it's I'm going to run a business. I'm going to gather as much users and data as I can. And then hopefully somebody sells it. And if they don't, I'll just go out of business and then run away or something,
Right.
But hopefully somebody wants this data or wants these users or wants this content and I could sell it to them, or I can raise money on the users and the data and the content or whatever. But it's like the actual making of money is not important anymore. Like that doesn't. So I wouldn't be so sure that they think it's a money-making proposition as much as a way to get users and data and content and whatever. So who knows?
Well, my obvious question to you is how can we parlay our shitty little thing into making money off of hypotheticals? How do we do this?
I'll contact Josh Chernoff tonight to find out how to get on the Premier Streaming Network. No, I don't know.
If he wants to buy those 3 letters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Please. I got
VO-dub.
Lots of data for you. Lots of content and data for you.
Data. All you people listening, we're going to sell your data.
Yeah, we got them all.
We got every single one of them. The Swink. Who else? That's
Gerard, Angry 216. We got you.
That's my go-to. Whoever this Max is.
One
this
funky note. I got you too. We got all the notes. They're all there. But anyway, that is it for us. We've gone way too long at this point. So that is it for us. Obviously, flagshippatreon.com. Patreon.com/voicesofwrestling, voicesofwrestling.com/Patreon for all of our bonus content, $5 and $10 tiers for that. Voicesofwrestling.com for all the reviews, previews, columns, all that other great stuff. Voice of Wrestling Podcast Network as well for every other podcast that appears on this great network. All a bunch of different stuff. You got 5-Star Match Game, which I referenced a little bit earlier. Music of the Mat with Alan Cunahan on there this week. Emerald Flow Show, as I mentioned. You got the Jumping Bomb Audio, Shake Them Ropes, The Good, the Bad, and the Hungy. There's so much stuff on there. You've got to be kidding me. Eurographs Express. Like, we cover everything in the world of wrestling.
Don't forget any.
I know. I'm trying to think. Am I forgetting anybody? Who am I forgetting? Because now I've gone to. The problem is you have to name like 3 and then just say everybody. But when you name more than 3, now you got to name everybody, right? Because then you can't leave. Days of Thunder, WCW nostalgia podcast. And
you got Lee Malone looking for you. And I don't listen. That's a guy you don't want looking for.
Oh, no. He'll fuck you up. Yeah.
He will club your knees. That Lee Malone.
He probably knows the Badgers Nadgers guy. He probably knows that guy.
Probably knows the bat. Yep. He's absolutely.
You know, he's from Ireland, and I always thought he was from Scotland. And one time I said he was from Scotland. He's like, I'm not from Scotland. I'm from Ireland. I was like, shit, I apologize. I thought you were from Scotland. So.
Yeah, well, he probably still knows the Badgers.
He still knows the Badgers, Nashers, boil your arse guy.
That's right. And they're gonna knock you up. They're gonna knock the door, and they're gonna be out there with little billy clubs, and that Malone will get you. You know, he's so good thing you remembered that at the bell there.
And I think Super J-Cast was the only one I didn't go over. New Japan centric Super J-Cast. There you go. So I think that's all of them. If I skipped any of them or missed them, then it's Joe's fault. Open the voice gate. Duh. Jesus Christ. I almost left off.
You know, Abraham, he'll send that hoss of a kid of his after you.
Oh, that's I know. Yeah. Big Arthur, right? Big Art.
Big Art. Big Art's a hoss. Go get you.
He has a
couple years.
Big boy. Yeah.
Yeah. He'll be giving you urinages right in your living room.
He's already in the dojo, right?
I think so.
They're already having to do neck rolls and stuff like that. You know, just getting them ready, you know.
Yeah.
He's not in the ring yet, but he's doing neck rolls. Yuji Nagata's yelling at him. It's, you know, it's slowly working out.
Oh shit. I totally forgot. I did the Gentleman's Wrestling podcast with Collings the other day. So I want to plug that. Everybody go listen to that if you want another 2 hours of me, because I know you guys just can't get enough. Okay. You get an hour on Thursdays, then you get 3 hours plus. I'm so out of energy. 3 is where I just run out of energy.
Right at that saying words for no reason.
Right at that 3 hour mark, I feel like I'm talking in slow motion. I'm like, the New Japan, Junior Battle, Glory. I don't even know what I'm saying once we hit that 3 hour mark. But if you need more of me, I did 2 hours. We did the first 100 days of the Paul Levesque WWE regime. And I believe his show is available. It's a YouTube exclusive.
It's a YouTube exclusive. Yes.
I believe they pay him a very strong,
a healthy amount
number to keep that a YouTube exclusive. So the Gentleman's Wrestling podcast this week. I don't even think he's weekly, but the latest Gentleman's Wrestling podcast. Myself visiting with Colin. I wanted to do it in the meat of the show. He's probably going to give me shit because I'm doing it after you did the close already, and nobody's listening to us. Right now.
Everybody's left. Everybody's gone.
There's not a single. There's like there might be a dozen people who will listen this long, like when because they think the show's over because you already did all the bullshit. You already did the, go to the website, all this. That's where people just X out. So I know this is a terrible plug for the appearance I did, but anyway, for the 12 of you that are listening. Go watch that show. There's a slideshow too, like it's a visual presentation. So go watch that on YouTube.
And with Joe, we did not talk about your refrigerator, but maybe we'll get to that next week on the Flagship.
People really care about the refrigerator.
I think I care about the refrigerator, to be honest. But we'll talk about the refrigerator. Right. I got new purchases too. I guess we can talk about. You helped me save money. You helped me save money. So
I did help.
You made me a cheap ass.
I did.
I'm glad.
It's
you know me. You know me.
I know you, and we'll talk about it next week.
Next week, little teaser there. So that is next week on the Flagship. That is Joe. I'm Rich. We'll talk to you next time. Take care. Bye.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare is here, and so is Mountain Dew.
Roger that.
Now you can unlock in-game rewards like only Dew can.
Wait, what rewards?
A Dew Operator Skin.
Man, I love Operator Skins.
Dual double XP, and even Call of Duty points.
You're kidding me. Double XP and Call of Duty points? This is incredible. I can't believe it.
Soldier, get a hold of yourself.
Oh, roger that.
Look for specially marked packaging and visit mtndewgaming.com for details and restrictions. Open to U.S. residents 17 plus. Call of Duty points available on 12 and 24 packs and free 20 and 23.
Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-on bonus. Plus, when you sign up today with promo code OHIO, you'll be all set for when FanDuel goes live in Ohio. Then you can bet on all your favorite teams in all your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Ohio. Bonus issued in non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Ohio. 1/1/23. Unique user identity verification required. Offer ends on the go live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Ohio, this is your chance to get in on the action. Join today with promo code OHIO.